Hello, hello. My name is Mary Moses, and we are going to be giving a reading today to Cassie. And I just got off the phone with Cassie, and we're just going to dive right in because this is going to be probably a pretty long read. And many people have passed away for Cassie, so we're probably going to be talking to a lot of deceased loved ones. And so we'll do a couple of pieces. One that will be a communication from people in her life and deceased friends, family. And then we're going to look at Cassie and see what Cassie needs to do emotionally, spiritually, whatever. And as you guys know, if you've ever seen me go live before, I do not have control over who or what comes forward. I do have the ability to look and pull energies forward, but I overall, I don't have control. Spirit is in control. But you can see something here as well that maybe I didn't see. So welcome to this reading. If you're here, you may have something that you need to hear at this time. So you may be here for a reason. We are having a synchronistic day like crazy. My 2 o'clock never responded to me. Cassie texted me saying she needed the reading today. We read for Mary Jane earlier. We made some beautiful products earlier, natural edible lotions and whatnot. And everything was just like click, 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 like dominoes. So I think that we are in divine timing, but I think that those of us who are petrified, traumatized, worried, and in fear, afraid of going forward, you need a little bit of mommy medicine, where you allow your heart to be a child again and give up that adult heart that's tired of responsibility, tired of like putting a magnifying glass on everything to try to make sure everything's okay because you're afraid that it's going to fall apart. The magical medicine of giving you a spoonful of edible glow-in-the-dark glitter that is good for you. And it makes you poop, sparkly poop, and you feel this energy you haven't felt in a long time. So if you've been petrified, traumatized, and you are just absolutely afraid to move forward because you're afraid of the future, you're afraid of God. You're afraid of God. You don't trust God. I don't blame you. If you have so many people passing away, leaving you, it almost feels like an assault. It almost feels like, uh-oh, what's wrong? What is happening? Am I the problem? I'm afraid to go and talk to anybody because what if I hurt them? You know? There are these little thoughts that you have in your head that you don't really say out loud because you don't want to, But the truth of the matter is, it reminds me of the movie called How I Live Now. And the character in How I Live Now, she felt like she was a curse. And the movie played out where when the hellish reality began to diminish, she began creating heaven by cooking and gardening and living in the moment. And she realized that she taking care of others and helping the world was the only cure for being traumatized by her own father and by all that. So anyway, that's the vibe I get. So Cassie, welcome. What I do is an ancient art form called scrying. I cover a piece of paper with charcoal like the character Alice on Twilight, who saw the ballet studio, but we do not see the ballet studio. We will see deceased waters. The ocean emits negative ions. Something that you might do to help with your mental health and from being traumatized or petrified is negative ions. This is when heat hits salt. So whether it's the ocean or you put salt by a window and let the sun hit it, emitting those negative ions will really help you. And it's a time to rejuvenate. It's a time to rest. And then, of course, self-love. So self-love is things have been cut out of your life like a tree. And you're sitting on that dead tree. You're sitting and pondering on death. And you need to really love yourself because you're insulted by all this pain. It's almost an insult. So you're being tested, and you don't know how to act, what to think, and you would just rather not do anything at all. It's almost like, okay, come on, angels, God, do it for me, because, I mean, really, I don't have the power to do it. And so that's the vibe I get. So here we go. Let's anoint your piece. This is the piece I got at Dollar General. It's a little girl seated, and it doesn't swing. It doesn't move. She is sitting there touching one foot, almost touching the ground, the other foot touching her foot, her other hand touching her knee. This is saying, I need to go somewhere, but I can't move. So this petrified feeling, you have the ability to fly. You know you do. But you can't, because of the dead tree. The tree is dead. Death all around you. And I get it. Let's awaken our magical childlike heart. Let's have joy. Imagine yourself as strawberry shortcake or a Care Bear. Or imagine that you are part of Scooby-Doo and we are part of the, what do they call it? The magic? What do they call it? The Scooby-Doo team? Anyway. Mushi the butterfly is anointing your piece, giving it wings, giving your heart wings. The piece of paper is a dead tree. The charcoal is a burned tree. We're going to take chaos of the charcoal and bring it back to life through this ancient technique called scrying. So here we go. We are ready. I'll make sure you're here. Oh, hi, John. I'm so glad that you're here. Oh, you're going to order more of those lotions? Yes. The edible lotions, they're great. You can even scrape a little bit and put it in a tooth for a tooth filling. You can put it on your animals. You can even polish furniture with it. It's for everything. All right, so Cassie, if I think of a song, maybe one word or one lyric or one verse is for you. This could be from your stepdad. It could be from your friends. It could be from all the people who have passed away all around you. I'm going to call forward all energies around you right now and ask, what is going on? What are they doing on the other side? And they need help because you're over there feeling petrified. And so I'm going to sit and wait for a song to come to me, and then I will begin. Okay. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit angry, and you're never coming round. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of listening to the sound of my tears. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified, but then I see the look in your eyes. This is falling. Just give me a second. Every now and then I get a little bit petrified, but then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart, and I need you more tonight, and I need you more than ever. And if you only hold me tight, then we'll be holding on forever, and then only be making it right. 'Cause we'll never be wrong. Together we could take it to the end of the line. Your love is like a shadow on me all of the time. I don't know what to do and I'm always in the dark. We're living in a powder keg and giving off sparks. I really need you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. Once upon a time. There we go. I see now. I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling apart. There's nothing I can say, a total eclipse of the heart. Once upon a time there was light in my life, but now there's only love in the dark. There's nothing left to do, total eclipse of the heart. Turn around, bright eyes. Oh, you have so many people coming forward. One main male energy. Holding the letter U upside down, and waters in between. This is something. Well, you have so many. I want you to be patient with this reading now. I'm going to turn the light down because I want to be able to see a little better. And I need your patience because you have so many people coming forward that the gesture of someone rubbing the back of their hand on a cheek is my love, my dear, my love. A very gentle, loving gesture. Of a male energy. This is you. And you have people up here. Another male. Somebody who's ponders a lot. So a thinker. You have a male here. I'm about to sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. Here we go. This person is like, has a matter-of-fact attitude. He's saying, I'm going to be real with you. We're in a carnival tent. And there's a skull. And this is a matter-of-fact person and with the personality just saying, look, let me just tell you something. We are in a circus. And his mind is connected to your mind and is, I don't know, you're very close to him. He's close to you. This is, I'm guessing, your stepdad here. You have other energies up here, and okay. There's a female here. And here. Um, why don't you just start by telling us what happened when you died? And then that way we can kind of get, some kind of something going on here. So here's death. And your mind is the power that operates the skull. So when we see a horse, this is life and power, right? So so let's follow the horse here. So according to this, consciousness went into a tree, or what looks like a tree to me. And like it's a waiting, like it's a judgment. There's a lion there. A lion usually means, for me, it means judgment. They're usually the judges. So anyway, like pushed into a tree man. I don't know. And then from there, we go into a wall. And there's a reconnection to individuals. There's 4 people. And this is a movie screen, and there's people, or a picture, and there's people in there, and they're sideways. They're I don't like to believe that we live in a holographic. I really don't. And I really don't want to believe that. But maybe he's just describing a picture. So let's just go with that because, all right, it says, something about there, if you're not inside an animal or a tree or a body, you're in the abyss. You're in chaos. So this place is, and so if you go before it's your time to go, you end up going into some form, and some people go into trees. According to this, there's just people in waiting to go inside a body, waiting for a body, any kind of body. And so I don't understand it yet. There's this child. with water flowing out of their hands. And an angel that looks like, let me get this straightened out, sorry. An angel that looks like an older woman. With wings. And your head looks like a tree. And his head looks like a tree. And both of you guys, like, your hair goes up like a tree. And then his goes like a tree. Zip, zip. So, okay. I'm going to say something that I'm not sure I'm right about. And I just want you to think about it. When my dad committed suicide, I would constantly think about him, and he was connected to the void and the abyss and places that I shouldn't have connected to, right? And so I ended up adopting and connecting my mind with his soul, his mind, and he probably went through some terrible things in the afterlife, maybe, because my life was awful because I was constantly thinking about him. And it occurred to me that I needed to stop thinking about him because I was taking his mind into my mind and giving him my body and somehow allowing him to live within me, living within my body. So sometimes we end up getting paralyzed and end up feeling things we would never feel after someone dies because we will think about them so much that we actually invite their energy into ourselves, and then we become not ourselves anymore. We are actually part of their energy. And although there's someone that you love, of course, but something happens though when we overthink them and we bring them into our head. They can become part of us, and what they're feeling, we begin to feel, or what they're experiencing, we end up experiencing, and it just makes us incredibly polarized. But it's almost like the people that are here, you're thinking about them so much that their tree, which is their energy, their tree of life, is becoming your tree of life. So think about it like this. All right, I'm going to go to a Christian concept because it's the only thing I know how to do. So Jesus said, ask me into your heart and grow through my body and follow me to living waters. Living waters. This is follow Pisces to the age of Aquarius, right? And so when we think of Christ a lot, we become like Christ, and then we become as powerful as Christ, and we end up finding the age of Aquarius because we think about Christ a lot. We actually invite it through thought, sound, praise, worship, whatever. But if we're thinking about people who have passed away a lot, then you're inviting them into your heart and your mind like a Christ. And so it's kind of like a worship. So we begin worshiping the deceased, not on purpose, but just because, it hurts. I mean, what else are we supposed to do, The problem is we don't know how our brain works. When we think about someone a lot, it becomes like a form of worship, and we will start meeting them on the spirit realm. We'll start inviting their energy into our lives and carbon copy many of their inconsistencies or maybe even negative energies onto our lives, stagnating and keeping us in a place where we can't move, because really, you weren't meant to be as one with these people. You are meant to be free, like a fairy. And they had a destiny to not go to the age of Aquarius, but you do, right? But when you invite them into your head, they're looking for a body. So that's my temporary answer for the moment. But let's move over to some other energies that are coming forward or that are around you here. So when it says don't have any other gods before me, this means don't invite death into your consciousness, only life. If God is life, think on life. If the opposite of God is death, then don't think on death too much. Because you have something to do here. That's why you're still here. Now, there's a man here. And all around him are dancing clouds like horses, children playing. This is dreams. And so he doesn't have the top of his head. Out of his head are, if you can imagine, a children's video of counting sheep, right? So dreams. The entire world, this man says, is but a thought and a dream. And so what you think about the most, you become. So if you think about the Christ and you want to be as powerful as Christ, then think about that and you will become powerful. If you want to be successful, then think about someone who is successful and you will become like them. But people who have passed in a sad, sudden way and you're worried and it petrified you, you are inviting the dead into your consciousness, thereby stagnating and paralyzing yourself. And I know it's almost impossible not to think of it. I know it's not. I know it is. I know that it's very hard to not do that, because I spent most of my life thinking about the people who have died and my father and all that. And because of that, I suffered, Precious, like you wouldn't believe. Like you wouldn't believe. And this suffering, I didn't have to. If I would have been told, oh, you're inviting where they went, they're in a carnival. This is the 11/11 carnival. They are in Pisces. You're going to Aquarius. But you're inviting somebody who wasn't meant to go to Aquarius with you, and it's pulling you down into this 11/11 carnival. So the elephant was stolen and put into the carnival to perform acts for money. And this is not the purpose of the elephant. The elephant is meant to be powerful and free and have lots of memory and be with their family, not alone, chained up. The carnival was always celebrated predating medieval times on November 11th. This is 11/11. And people who are in a prison are there because they have not been born again. They have not rebirthed. And maybe it just wasn't their time. And so a lot of people passed in during this time because they couldn't handle Aquarius. But you can. But we cannot bring the dead with us. So let the dead bury the dead. I know that's harsh. I know it is. But yet, they have to go through what they go through, and you have to seek first the kingdom of God and people of this ascension. Otherwise, you're going to get pulled with them. And so this is a struggle. It's like God is saying, your higher self is saying, oh no, darling, you've been given the green light to go to Aquarius. They haven't. And so seek new friendships, new relationships, and you're not alone. You're being supported. But this man in particular is wanting you to know that you are sharing your mind with people you shouldn't be at this time. Not that you don't love them, of course, and they love you, of course, but the requirements of being in the age of Aquarius is not the same kind of requirement it is to live in Pisces. The requirement is to live in joy, live in the moment, let go. Because you have this goldfish up here and it's smiling at you. And so you've been granted the amazing opportunity to go to the golden age of Aquarius and do some amazing things with your gifts. And so you have somebody telling you happy birthday. Somebody missed your birthday, blowing out a candle. It's a man. Holding a candle. But this candle is also another symbol for you, Cassie. This blowing out of the candle is those who are not lit with a light, blow them out. Also, it's a time to make wishes. This means wish for something amazing and think on it and it will happen. These are waterfalls going over. Waterfalls, and there's spirits. These spirits, these angels, they're water spirits. This water is a goddess. She's water, and they are spirits. It's a time of baptism, a time of anointing, a time of the Holy Spirit, a time of making wishes, a time of seeing our future, a time of making new friends. And they couldn't handle the energy, so they had to leave, and they chose to leave. But they want you to know that your mind is like, they don't have the tops of their heads. And so the top of your head is a tree. And they're saying that your world is created by thoughts, but this entire world is nothing but a thought and a dream. And make your dreams amazing and wonderful. And the reason you feel stuck is because you aren't you. You are inviting their energy to share your energy, and we're not supposed to do that right now. So, because this person has a little bit of anger, and some of the feelings that you're feeling may not be your feelings, you just feel like they are. So there was a judgment, and many people were judged or deemed ready or not to go to the age of Aquarius, and many people were not, and they left. And they left us alone. But we should be so thankful that we were chosen to stay, because you have something to do here and you need to do it. But think not that you're alone, and think not that you're like a fairy. You have these little antenna, and you need to grow your antenna to hear the voice of God and obey God at this time. And allow your little antennas to hear the voice of God only. So it says be by. Okay, so this person is saying baby, like BB, and calling you a baby, saying you're my baby, or you're, just wanting you to know that you're not alone. But then it says be by yourself. Look, Frodo had to take the ring alone. Maybe he had one friend. And it's a time of protecting our thoughts and our minds at this time. And oh, you have a feather in your hand. There's this cloaked being with a feather. So you have the hands of God. So you're going to be doing something that is a work of God. Whenever I see a white cloak or white hands and a white feather, or white water in your hands, this is you doing something that is the will of God. So this is your communication. Yes, you're supposed to do that. You just have so many people here. You have so many people. There's something about a Last Supper. I see this a lot in my art where there's people seated around a table, seated in chairs. And there's something about this table that I'm not quite sure what it means. It's almost like it's a holographic table, but then it's like the Lord's Supper. It's like they're saying you're already there with them, but you're in a parallel world where you're experiencing this reality, and there's nothing for you to worry about. Live in the moment kind of thing is the vibe I get. But so this is what your stepdad is saying, that you're with them now. There's a part of you that isn't. Somebody who cuts themselves here is being talked about. I see scratches, pain. This is connecting to this energy here. Look, for those of us who have been given the opportunity to go to the age of Aquarius, we have a duty and a job with our brains and our minds, and that is to stay in the eye of the needle. The eye of the needle is the Vesica Piscis. To stay in the eye is to be in the will of God. And this eye is seeking first the kingdom of God, which is all things good, joyful, and powerful, and truthful, and life energy. And all this scratching, cutting, biting, stagnation, paralysis, judgments, all this stuff is connecting to people who aren't going there with us and they're not ready yet. So I'm sorry, but it's time to let these people go. So you can move forward and joy. And they are telling you you're not alone, but they are asking you to please don't see them as they used to be. They're not the same anymore. The lifetime that we live here isn't like what they are there. They could have lived 10 lifetimes since they knew you. In 1 year, they could have lived 10 lifetimes. So when you're drawing up who they were into you, that's not who they are now. So you're pulling out something from your past that no longer exists. It's but a thought and a dream. However, they are watching you, and like the song Silent Lucidity, hush now, don't you cry. Wipe away that teardrop from your eye. Your mind was safe, and then it was all a bad dream spinning in your head. Your mind tricked you to feel the pain of someone close to you leaving the game of life. So here it is, another chance. Wide awake, you face the day your dream is over. Or has it just begun? There's a place I like to hide, a doorway that I run through my mind. Relax, child, you were there. You only didn't realize that you were scared. It's a place that you will learn to face your fears, retrace the years, and learn to conquer your mind. A round-trip journey in your head, master of the illusion. Can you realize your dreams alive, you can be the God. But we'll be watching over you. We're going to help to see you through. We'll protect you in the night. I'm smiling next to you in silent lucidity. And this silent lucidity is not asking them to be there with you. It's to live in the moment and live in Aquarius. And don't pull who they were, their personalities of who they were to you in the past up into the age of Aquarius, because they aren't even the same anymore. Life is but a thought and a dream. Now, let's go to who you're meant to be. These people all are telling you to be by yourself and yet know that you're not alone. Be brave. It's time to be brave. And let go and let God. And listen to the song Silent Lucidity. If you persist in all efforts, you will achieve freedom control. So persist in all efforts. You have a lot of fairy energy. A lot. This is childlike, happy, joyful, and it's sad. But there's a rainbow bridge from your eye to this eye of this female here. And there's the eye in the center. They see through your eyes. They grow with you. So they aren't the same. You aren't the same. And this age of Aquarius is about letting go of who we are and who they are in order to become someone new. There may be more to this story than I'm seeing, but the person who cuts themselves, please be careful, because I don't want this to turn into the spirit of suicide. That is a spirit. And we need to teach everyone that we are around that what we think will attract the dark underworld or the heaven world. And the age of Aquarius is about bringing heaven to earth. So think on heaven. When we think the worst of ourselves and others, we are raising the dead. And we don't want dead. We don't want death. We want life. Because you've been chosen for Aquarius. This means it's time to say goodbye. So let's go to your divinity. Hush now, don't you cry. Wipe away the teardrop from your eye. Your mind was safe and then it was all a bad dream spinning in your head. Your mind tricked you to feel the pain of someone close to you leaving the game of life. So here it is, another chance. Wide awake, you face the day. Your dream is over. Or has it just begun? If you open your mind for me, you won't rely on open eyes to see. The walls you've built within come tumbling down and a new world will begin. Living twice and once you learn, you're safe from pain in the dream domain, your soul set free to fly. So you have a lot to do with, for some reason, the letter G, which is geometry, and there's sacred geometry and crystals everywhere. And you have a book. One of your foot is, that you don't have another foot, is light coming out from that other foot. Not sure what that means. So, you have a lot of symbols here that have a lot of meanings, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to interpret this exactly right. But basically, when we're talking about geometry, there are straight lines and spirals. There are triangles. There are rainbows. There are rectangles. There's the letter M. There's the letter V. This is square. You're holding a book. There is a man holding a holy grail. You are in between. Oh, that's Solomon. You are in the temple of Solomon, the two pillars of Solomon. This is a judgment. Your body begins as the world of the dead. Anubis goes up through your foot. This is judgment. And then the other foot is invisible, and it's part of the invisible Holy Grail, the invisible mother. Rectangle, labyrinth, the letter G, geometry, and then the lotus flower. Now you have a crystal above your head. Two fish, one fish on this side, one fish on that side. The crystal reflects the invisible mother. The fish of Pisces are like, I don't know, like two poles, and you're in the center. I will say that I know of a story of how our universe was more like this or a puddle. So originally our universe was just like this, and it was only for joy. And the frequency of this reality rippled like a puddle, right? But then something happened where I saw this dog, and I think it's Sirius B, the dog star, did something to our reality where it changed it from a ripple puddle to a spiral. And this spiral put us in a spell. It messed up the frequency. So think about, like, if you're in a speaker and the sound comes out of the center, and then the waves go out, out, out like a ripple, right? Well, something happened where our universe was changed from that, like that, to this, and it jumbled things up like chaos, right? Because sound could be like that, but something happened. Anyway, hearing the voice of God, and this is sound. Here, that's sound. You're holding a book. This is the lotus flower. The lotus flower is being purified out of mud, being mud and turning into a beautiful lotus flower out of mud. This is really alchemy, transforming from lead to gold. This is an icosahedron. All right, this is behind every pleasure and every pain is a sacred geometrical shape, right? So your double self, this is a square. This is the energy of Thoth. Thoth comes and squares a human being's emotions and mind so that we are not out of alignment or under a spell, right? We have learned to balance our mind to that of the will of God, which is 0 point energy, and we are not pulling energies from the age of Pisces, which is on both sides here. You're going straight to God. And if you're a lighthouse, those who are in the age of Pisces or in a lower realm will see you, and they might find you eventually, but you don't find them and bring them up, because the world of the dead has to stay where it is, and we just have to seek first the kingdom of God, which is sacred geometry. Now, you're holding a book. This means that you're teaching, or you're doing something, you're presenting something to the world that is something that you're wanting to prove to the world that you have made or done. So this is what you're wanting the world to see, including people who are still in the age of Pisces. But you're not. See, when you're in the letter A, you're in Aquarius, and so you have power. The people who are down here, they don't have as much power as you. So you cannot seek first their world. Your world is shifting and changing so much. You have to leave them behind because you have great things to do. These are the most powerful symbols I could possibly bring forward for you. The labyrinth, the letter G, geometry, the spiral, the number 3, the number of the sun, the pyramid, the crystal. In between, 2 fish. Almost every culture on earth has Asia, Mongolia, Russia, India, all ancient cultures outside of our culture has the 2 fish. It's one of the most significant symbols. It doesn't just reflect Pisces or the Tao or the yin and yang. The 2 fish is a Buddhist concept, and it is very good luck. It's really good luck to have the 2 fish. Very good luck. The golden age of Aquarius, if you're wearing the golden crown because you have squared your emotions and your beliefs, and you have heard the voice of God, and you have attuned your mind and your hearing to that of God, not here, then, what good luck you have. So I believe that that you have to keep your Holy Grail empty. And this is every single day recapitulating and letting go. I don't know if you've read this book yet. It's called The Sorcerer's Crossing. You need to recapitulate and let go and not bring the dead up to you. You are alive. And these people that you think about, they're not the same anymore. Yes, they're there. Yes, they've changed. But they are you. And as you change, they change. So just be you. And just let go, because somehow they see through your eyes. But don't think of them as they were. And have sorrow or pain even. Because somehow it pulls you down like a boat anchor. And it's entangling your ethereal net with the idea of them, not who they actually are. You should be thinking about icosahedrons, tetrahedrons, dodecahedrons. Because if you want pain to turn to pleasure, well, behind every pleasure and every pain is a sacred geometrical shape. So, what shape brings pleasure? Usually dodecahedrons. Icosahedrons are very good. Tetrahedrons. And you're going to leave behind the teardrop shape. The shape of the fish. That is painful. All right, because the fish is a sacred geometrical shape that reflects a teardrop or water or fire. And it is there, and it serves its purpose as a baptism of water and a baptism of fire. But once we've gone past that and we've actually been rebirthed or twice born, we have shifted into a new paradigm, and we are no longer ourselves. And as we have shifted, our mind has to shift. We're going to become powerful, and if we're not careful, if we look back, we will turn to stone. If we turn around and keep looking back into yesterday and how wonderful our lives were and how terrible our lives are now, we will fall back into yesterday. And maybe that's something that I used to feel too. Man, if I think long and hard enough about yesterday, maybe yesterday will return. Well, there are good things that are going to happen, because to have the two fish next to you is a very powerful Buddhist symbol of the two goldfish. And it's prosperity. But you will not be prosperous if you do not square your emotions and your beliefs to that of your higher self. And your higher self does not think, does not remember. Your higher self really laughs at it. Comedy, joy. So I'm going to tell you a little story. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Harry Potter. And Harry lived with the Muggles, and they were not very nice, precious. And Harry Potter lost his mom and dad. And even though he lost his mom and dad, the Muggles treated him like garbage. And even though Harry lived with the Muggles, if the Muggles were his only friends and family, then he would have love for them. But they weren't that nice, right? Who is your friend? Who is your mother and your father, your brother and your sister? Those who follow God. Those who follow truth in life, period. Okay? Those are your true love. Anything else is just a game. Okay? Because let's say that you and I are friends. And then every time we talk to each other, I tell you all of my problems. And you're like, well, I'm a good friend to her, so I'm going to listen to her problems. We get off the phone, you feel like crap. Do I love you? Or did I use you and gave you my bad energy because I didn't know that I was actually contaminating you, cross-contaminating you with the virus of sadness or anger? Who is your friend? Who are your friends? Who's your mother and your father? Your true mother and your father are those who follow life. And I'm not saying that these people weren't. I'm saying that we have to shift what our perception of what friends and family are. Because if we love our children, then we will seek first the kingdom of God and become powerful and become full of joy and become a lighthouse, so that if they fall into the abyss or the chaos of the waters of at sea and they cannot find their way home, they need a lighthouse to find their way home. Lost souls need a lighthouse, and we have to become that lighthouse. That's what love is. It's not these silly games we play. Many people, want to be friends with me. I'm not, I am an ally. I'm a spiritual ally. And playing games of he said, she said, gossip. I'm going to tell you all my problems. Let's talk about our problems. Let's talk about each other. That's the age of Pisces. The new age is we are going to have spiritual allies in divine timing, where we all follow life energy, period. You are either divinely meant to be in my life or not. We're not polarized by low self-worth or self-importance or trying to gang up and have a whole bunch of friends. No, it's different. The whole world has shifted. So Harry Potter had to leave the Muggles. And even though they treated him badly, I'm sure he had some feeling for some of them there. But it was time for him to leave. When he got to Hogwarts, everyone at Hogwarts almost expelled him because he brought something you're not allowed to bring to Hogwarts. What he brought to Hogwarts was a mirror of his mother and his father who had left him. It was grief. When you look in the mirror, when you've gone into the age of Aquarius, and you see your higher self, you see the face of God, you see truth, and you see that you are balanced in the eye of the needle, which looks like a mirror, then you should see hope, faith, joy, and power, and all this wonderful stuff, right? But if you see pain and suffering and loss, the reason they were secretive about Harry Potter was because they really did want to expel him. Because if we go to the age of Aquarius and we are contaminated with abandonment, bitterness, sorrow, shame, grief, many of these feelings. The people at Hogwarts are so telepathic and so like oracles that they feel all this, and they are kind of one with you. They love you so much. They are you. They will reflect you. And so if you are this, they will reflect that back to you. And by extension, this feeling brings the Voldemort, the letter V. And the Voldemort will control Harry Potter's mind, where Harry Potter says, I just feel so angry all the time. And I feel like I'm the one hurting people. Harry said that. But it wasn't Harry. Harry was calling a Voldemort into Hogwarts, and it caused a war, and it caused terrible things to happen. So what I'm saying is, when Christ said, you cannot go to heaven unless you go through the eye of the needle, he said you have to unload your camel of all things. This includes emotion, thought, being polarized, low self-worth, self-importance, anything. You go to a time of surrender. So if all of your friends and family have passed, or most of them, and you feel like sometimes, man, maybe I should have died too, the best thing to do is to die before you die. And how do you do that? You let go of all your pain, all your bitterness, all your sorrow, all your shame, all your grief. Because what does it feel like to be dead? You have no feelings and no beliefs. That's it. You're just a ghost, feeling nothing, believing nothing. Go ahead and do that. When you finally surrender and you let go of all that, and you forgive and all that, suddenly you'll hear a voice kind of like an angel. La, 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 la. And this voice is your double self. And this is a self that is invisible. It's connected to the Holy Spirit and to God. And it will tell you what to do and where to go. It'll be your Samwise Gamgee. Because Frodo had to take the ring alone. But Samwise Gamgee was always with him. Your twin flame will always be with you. So you need to be like Ron Weasley and look in the mirror and say, bloody hell, I look good, Because if you can live in the moment and not think about yesterday or tomorrow, you'll never have to worry about the Voldemort squaring your emotions or beliefs or polarizing you into yesterday or tomorrow. Like something that goes back and forth. So Harry had to let go of his mom and dad and finally realize that life is but a thought and a dream. Because when he did die, he went to a train station. And at that train station, he asked Dumbledore, is any of this real? Is it all in my head? And Dumbledore said, of course it's all in your head, Harry. But that doesn't mean that it's not real. And so when Harry died, he saw Voldemort as a little fetus, powerless. And it was a piece of him that was keeping him at the Muggle world. Muggle, the moon energy, the mind, because of pain. So if we continue to choose to be sad and full of sorrow, you will have the path like Harry Potter. You will have to battle the Voldemort. The Voldemort will kill you in some way. And everyone around you will also suffer because they will feel you and it will be bad. But you can also be aware that you have a choice. You can listen to comedy and meditate on sacred geometry and do what your passion is and present that to the world. And know that you have good luck on your side with the Buddhist 2-fish symbol, the golden fish. And you can kill the Voldemort. And know that everyone is you. So all the people that passed, they're with you, they're growing with you. So if you don't grow, they don't grow. If you're full of sorrow, they're full of sorrow. If you're angry, they're angry. They see through your eyes. So go ahead and let them grow with you. Go ahead and let them be powerful with you. Go ahead and feel joy because that will make them joyful. Go ahead and show them Aquarius because they couldn't do it, but you can. And I know it's really hard to hear. I mean, it is. But a true friend is someone who wants you to be as powerful as the most powerful being on earth. This is why Jesus said, I never meant for you to worship me, follow me. He says, if you believe me, you'll become as powerful as me and more. Doesn't want worship, wants you to become powerful. And all of your friends and all of your family wants that too. If anyone doesn't, question who they are. Because what is a friend? It is an ally that is meant to be there only in divine timing and obeying God, not these games that we play. We play a lot of games as human beings because we believe in friendship and family. But I'm sorry, when you're in the Muggle world, friends and family is someone who tells you all their problems and brings you down a lot and gossips and causes drama and causes all kinds of chaos. That's not love. So all you have to do is continue going on the path that you're going in with trust and faith and know that you are meant to rise. And so this shape of water and fire is eternal life. And it is something that we definitely is painful. Both the water and the flame are painful. So if these are shapes that reflect pain, I want you to change those shapes to power, and I want you to start drawing things around your house. I want you to draw dodecahedrons. Let me show you a picture. Icosahedrons. Behind every pleasure and every pain is a sacred geometrical shape. So if God and pain and power is a shape, let's change the shape of pain to power, okay? So the Hermetic seal looks like this. This is probably a really good shape for you. So this is about digging deep into yourself to find a divine spark. Harness that spark and share that spark with the world to become a master of your universe. All right? I'm going to show you something about sacred geometry here. The entire world is made up of mind. This means beliefs, Are they true? Does anybody really exist? Did the relationship exist? Do you exist? As above, so below. Vibration, nothing rests. Polarity, everything is dual. Rhythm, everything flows. These are the 7 principles of Hermetics. Cause and effect. There's male and female gender to everything. Freedom from imbalance. When our energetic field gets stuck in jerk world, we become petrified. We can't move. We can't hear the voice of God. We don't want to. We're afraid. We're actually angry at God because of all the misgivings. But it's actually a blessing. It's actually a good thing to leave behind the old world and find a new one, because the new one is going to be more powerful. And your friends are going to be there for you in divine timing because they want you to be powerful. A dodecahedron is one of the most powerful pleasure symbols you can visualize. There are 5 platonic solids, the octahedron, tetrahedron, icosahedron, hexahedron. So behind every plane or pleasure is a master pattern or sacred geometrical shape. So the alchemical transformation of going from pain to pleasure or pain to power is to understand sacred geometry. To become a master of the net, geo means earth, metra means measurement. So this is geometry. We have to understand the sacred measurement of the earth. And so to get into these things, we'll get you also into numerology. And you might want to go ahead and start getting into drawing mandalas, sacred geometrical shapes, to shift your timeline. Jesus calls it moving mountains. You can call it shifting timelines. You can call it quantum jumping. So you're going to want to quantum jump out of being paralyzed to actually being able to move, because you have entered the Temple of Solomon. This means that you have gone through a pole shift. So one thing you can do to get rid of all negativity is to visualize the grid of life design. It's called gold. This will clear all darkness, blockages, and negativity. You see a golden rod going through the ground, up through the center of your body to the top of your head until it reaches what you see as a golden orb above your head. Make the orb very large and as shiny as you can. Feel the warmth and practice seeing it. You're going to see one on your right shoulder, on your left shoulder, in front of you and behind you. You're going to connect every single one to each other through a golden rod, and you're going to fill this pyramid with golden light energy. See luminous gold. Okay, and this will help you to activate sacred geometry and activate yourself to remove yourself from the world of the dead to the world of the living. You'll want to activate your cave of Brahma. This is seeing a spark of light in the center of your head and growing it every day. See yourself inside a Merkaba. This will give you protection from even yourself. And you can look up on Gaia. It's called Sacred Geometry on Gaia, where you can actually go to school and have a class on becoming a master of the net and sacred geometry. because you're going to want to merge your consciousness to a higher consciousness. And you're going to understand your energetic field, how your body is an energetic, sacred, geometrical body that can be full of life or not. So you're going to learn about 0-point centering, pushing light outward, and using your energetic muscles to practice Christ consciousness. Your head into the light of the sun and 0-point centering. And so studying all this stuff will help you to seek first the kingdom of God and leave behind the kingdom of the dead. There is such thing as a coronavirus, a spiritual virus. We are in the corona crown, and this corona crown is when we think on people who were sad, depressed, angry, we will be cross-contaminated with their energy because our energy will get connected to their energy, and we won't be able to tell the difference between them and ourselves. You won't be able to tell the difference. You will feel 100% that you're depressed and angry, but you don't even know that it's because you have connected to someone who is depressed and angry. We have to cut that out of our lives. Do not misuse sacred geometry. Healing sacred geometry for your body. It does heal you. The double dodecahedron is one of the most powerful symbols you can get into. This is me trying to do some terrible geometrical shapes. So, good and bad spirit. Materialism. The cross is being trapped in a human body. The Lucifers cannot understand the physical. They have a one-sided understanding. The opposite of Lucifers are the Satans or the Satanic. They refuse spiritual truth and they focus on material. So Lucifer reflects the spirit and the light because Lucifer was called the morning star, but so was Jesus. Satan is about the physical and the material world. Jesus is the balance, is the vesica piscis and the eye of the needle. So understanding the vesica piscis will help you understand yourself and how to become the crown of creation. The crown of creation is the golden crown of becoming half flesh, half spirit. Because if you are half flesh, half spirit, you aren't just yourself anymore. So humans are spirits of love and freedom. Snowflakes are crystallized water. Humans are crystallized spirit. We have to develop our rainbow body or our light body. And this is all about sacred geometry. Let's see here. Another one here. I say, the word astral means a star. So you are a star. You are an astral body. So the octahedron turns into a tetrahedron when it pops out. The tetrahedron turns into fire. And these things are connected to the Merkaba and creating the Merkaba. The tetrahedron is the strength of our soul. So you need to really focus on the tetrahedron, which is above your head and your peace. So understanding that tetrahedron is the strength of your soul. All right. So anyway, it's time to leave behind that which must be left behind and step into your godhood and be part of one of the fragments of God and the voice of God, the hands of God. And this is why you have the letter G, which is sacred geometry. You are very powerful, but you're definitely giving your power away and misusing your mind. Your mind needs to be on godly things, not on the world of the dead at this time. It is the age of Aquarius. This is the eye pouring out waters. It's time to let go of pain. It is time to step into power. listen to the song Silent Lucidity to really get the gist of some of the things that are going on here in your pieces. But you do have a Christ energy holding a child that looks angelic, and this is you stepping into the crystallization of Christ consciousness. And I met this Christ energy, and it was a sun or a light that said, I never meant for you to pray to me. Follow me. Follow me and you will know me. When you know me, you'll become me. When you become me, you won't need me. You won't need me. So there's a baby. Yep. So there's a wolf eating a square. And this is that we are leaving a prison. We are not in a prison anymore. And the only prison that we have currently is what we believe it is. But we do not have to be there. Well, let me tell you something about Jesus. Somebody says, makes me emotional about the Jesus thing because I left religion. It wasn't working anymore. Let me tell you something, the truth about what I believe about this Jesus, okay? Let me, and this goes back to my astral travels and everything, okay? And I'm going to give this has to be said. I'm sorry, Cassie, but this has to be said. When we are but munchkins and we are short of understanding, we needed these stories. And these stories in the Bible are true. But there comes a time when you come to find out that the Bible is really a secret communication for the adept. And when you're ready for the truth, you'll be able to see the truth from new eyes. But you have to be tall like Dorothy to hear the truth. You cannot be a munchkin that is short of understanding. You have to have walked through the spiral of the yellow brick road and found Emerald City. This is your fourth heart chakra that is green. You would have had to slap the shame and blame lion in the face and awoken and anointed the narcissistic tin man without the heart. And you would have had to take the scarecrow off the cross of taking on the sins of the world and the embodiment of ignorance. So let's talk about Jesus from a brand new perspective. All right. Jesus said, turn over a stone, and there I am also. Right? Jesus is a body of time. It is the age of Pisces. It is the fish. It is the teardrop. Okay? So, when you hear Jesus say, let us be fishermen of men, he's talking about the Vesica Piscis. When Jesus says, go through the eye of the needle, he's talking about the Vesica Piscis. When Jesus said, your heart will pour out living waters, he's talking about the Vesica Piscis. Many things that Jesus said are speaking of ages of time. The body of Christ is something that we all had to grow through. We all had to grow through the body of Christ to get past the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. Jesus had 7 wounds. These 7 wounds are painful, and you have 7 chakras. There are 7 spirits of God in the Bible. We live on the realm of seven. 7 continents, 7 seas, 7 days in a week, 7 musical notes, 7 wonders of the world, 7 metals, and 7 chakras, 7 wounds of Christ, 7 trumpets, 7 seals, right? And the purpose of the 7 spirits of God is to activate your 7 chakras, because the 7 colors of the rainbow will give you your rainbow light body. Because when we're born in the matrix, our 7 chakras are points of drainage. We feed the matrix. We feed drama. And these 7 spirits of God activate our 7 chakras to points of power. We're meant to be as powerful as Christ. Jesus said so. So this entire reality that we have grown through is the body of Christ. Yes, Jesus can manifest as a man dying on a cross. Jesus can manifest as a woman or a man, or Mary Magdalene, or Mithra. Mithra was the original Jesus from Armenia. They said, "Drink my blood and live forever." Where is Armenia? Armenia is near Transylvania. Who's from Transylvania? Vampires. Vampires have 2 souls. The original Adam and Eve had 2 souls before Eve was cut from Adam. Drink my blood and live forever. Adam and Eve live forever. Armenia, Mithra, Transylvania. Seems to be a connection there. Not sure I would label them as vampires, but regardless, Mithra and Jesus were born of a virgin, died, rose again. Both of them said, "Drink my blood and live forever." So when Jesus said, "Our Father who art in heaven," the God of Armenia was named Ar, and they all called him Our Father. And the mother was named Haya, but then her name was changed to Gaia. But there was no difference between Ar and Haya, because they were as one. They were androgynous like a vampire. Okay. 7 points of drainage become 7 points of power. And when you grow through the body of Christ, you learn to go through the eye of the needle, through surrender, forgiveness, awakening, growing. But there's a little kicker that they don't tell you in the Bible. And I'm going to give you a secret today. Jesus Christ has 11 letters in his name. When Jesus was 12, he left the Bible. When you are 12 years old, spiritually, not physically, spiritually, you will leave the moon energy. So Harry Potter was 12 when he left the Muggles. Dorothy Gale was 12 when she left Kansas. Dorothy Gale has 11 letters. Harry Potter has 11 letters. Jesus Christ has 11 letters. And Jesus left the Bible at 12. He left the temple at 12. So when you're 12 years old, God comes out of Azkaban, the cells of your body. So when Harry was 12, he went to Harry Potter, and his God and Father was in Azkaban for 12 years. So Jesus said, "My Father's house is a mansion with many rooms." This is like Emerald City or Hogwarts, right? So when Jesus left the Bible at 12, he wasn't powerful. He was only teaching. So when Jesus comes back, he was walking on the water, raising the dead, and he went to the number 13. Why? Because Jesus plus his 12 disciples equals 13. So to go from 11 to 12 to 13 is the new coven, or you can call it covenant. A coven of witches is 13. Harry was a wizard. Dorothy was a witch. And many people pointed their fingers at Jesus and said, "It is by Satan that you do these powerful things." So if you are 12 years old spiritually, your God and Father, which is really a planet named Sirius B, it is a dog star. But Harry Potter is secretive. They named him Sirius Black, but they also are very secretive because Sirius B was a female. And you might like to know that Jesus is very much female. The name Yeshua is a secret. Yah means moon. Shua means sun. The name Yah is female, and the moon is female. Shua is the male and the son. So whenever you see the word Yah, like Yahweh or Yahshua, it's female. Hayah is female. All right. But see, Jesus was androgynous, and the androgynous ones self-impregnate. Yes, you're born of a virgin when you're born by them because they self-impregnate like Jesus's mother. All right. So what happens is, this entire world is the body of Christ. Turn over a stone and there I am also. Jesus can manifest as a man, a woman, a burning bush, anything. Can be water inside your heart. Jesus could be water. Jesus could be fire. And Jesus could be the named Mithra. But it doesn't matter. This entire world is the body of Christ. And if you move through the body of Christ, you will ascend to the age of Pisces. You will be born again. You will be twice born. You will have a double self, one that is physical, one that is invisible. And you will go into a metaphorical arc. And you will find a new home, which is the age of Aquarius. All right, but he doesn't care whether you worship him or not. He said so. He cares that you follow him and become as powerful as him. He said so. So it's actually a sacred geometrical shape. You are born in sin. The god of the moon was named Sin a long time ago. And sin reflects darkness. We were born in ignorance, shame, ignorance, and narcissism. But when we are ready, like an embryo, many of us become born again or awoken like a thief in the night. We just somehow wake up one day. We go through a pole shift. And so being born again means that you have created the Vesica Piscis. This means that you have created a boat. This is the ark. You can only go into the ark 2 by 2. So this means that when you go into the ark, you will meet your spirit guide in the form of an animal. Your spirit guide is probably a holy dove or a lion or a tiger or a bear. So you have doubled yourself. You have a physical self and an invisible self. You are balanced between male and female. This Vesica Piscis is the baptism of water, baptism of fire. It is the all-seeing eye. It is the eye of the needle. It is the Holy Grail. It is the Ankh. It is the boat. It is the belly of the whale. And so it is the Mother Mary. So when you go through the eye of the needle, you have to become nothing. This means 0 point energy. You decide to surrender. You believe nothing. You feel nothing. And I know it sounds awful, but we have to because we were born in a place of ignorance. So anyway, you go through the eye of the needle, you're in the boat. And while you're in the boat, you're like in a Hogwarts or Emerald City. You become a horse of many colors. Scrub, scrub here, scrub, scrub there. You get cleaned. Cleaned of what? Ignorance, shame, and narcissism. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So you grow your soul. And you learned very quickly not to allow your dog, Toto, is your mind. Your mind belongs to God. Divine order of God. Dog spelled backwards is God. Dorothy allowed her dog to go to the World Wide Web. The Wicked Witch of the West. Her dog went into the garden of the Wicked Witch of the West. These are reptilians. So the reptilian Wicked Witch entangled her energy and messed up her Taurus field, which manifested as a tornado. So this Taurus field that manifested as a tornado spun her house, which is a reflection of your power, and made her powerless because her house crashed and was empty and killed a witch. This means that Dorothy died. But she didn't experience death. And this is what the reptilians can do to our energy, is actually take our energy and mess us up. This is why you have to seek first the kingdom of God, because if you allow your dog in the World Wide Web, you will be under their power. You will be connected to them, and they want nothing but to take over your mind and wear your shoes, basically wear your body. So here you are in the boat. What happens next? You've been born again. You start hearing a voice, which is your double self. You have a double self. It's an invisible self that's connected to the Holy Spirit. So what happens from there? Well, your soul is like an embryo. It will continue to grow. So here, this created the triquetra symbol. The triquetra symbol is a symbol that you have set your holy dove free. This is the body of the holy dove. So you're in the boat. Now you've gone to the Trinity. And the Trinity is the holy dove. This means that you can send your mind and your energy to find truth, like the Akashic records, or you can go meet Christ, or you can go see behind someone's eyes, but be careful where you send your thoughts. Because if you send out a black raven, black thoughts, you will not find truth. But if you send out the white, purified thoughts, seeking first only the kingdom of God, you will find what comes next. This is the quadrupling of your soul. The quadrupling of your soul is when you go from 3 to 4. And the 4th is the olive branch. So if you have quadrupled, you've learned through knowledge, and you have awoken, and your holy dove finds the olive branch. And the olive branch is a really good time in your life because you are finally home. And you're finally free from the World Wide Web, the Wicked Witch of the West. So really, when Jesus said, unless you're born again, you cannot come to the kingdom of heaven, this is about staying in the eye of the needle and surrender, Dorothy. Because when Dorothy had the broomstick on fire and splashed the Wicked Witch with water, this was the baptism of water and the baptism of fire. And this is why Neo Anderson followed the White Rabbit. These symbols are all connected. But the boat is connected to the boat of Ra, which is an Egyptian concept. But that was kind of an illusion because the truth is the ark was found in Armenia from the god Ar. But anyway, this boat of Ra is the Egyptian book of Gates, about when you're in the boat, you will be put into a school of understanding, and it's a lot like Emerald City and Hogwarts. So you are 12 years old spiritually, and your God and Father has been unlocked out of your heart, the cells of your blood, and is now talking to you, and all you have to do is surrender, Dorothy, and diminish the Wicked Witch with water and fire, and then suddenly your dog will expose the false god by pulling back the curtain of the great and mighty wizard who was full of hot air balloon. And so, stay in the eye of the needle. And these stories are numerical. They are sacred geometry. This is why Harry Potter has 11 letters. His wand was 11 inches long. Dumbledore's vault was 713, which equals 11, which means that he had activated his 7 chakras and is now a number 13, which is a coven of witches, and he has mastered himself and his 12 disciples, becoming 13, which is 11. It is known as the 1111 pole shift. It is the number 22, which equals the royal road. So the Bible is really an elementary story for those who don't understand, but for those who are ready to hear what the truth is right there in front of you. And so here we see, being outside of the eye, but wanting to be in the center of the eye, and Cassie needs to put her eye in the center. This is the balance of only focusing on life energy. Now, death begins at 25 hertz or less. You vibrate between 70 and 100 hertz frequency. So think in terms of frequency to find God. And so food has a frequency, clothing has a frequency, colors have a frequency, sound has a frequency. People who are full of joy, laughter, and they don't cause drama and gossip and all this stuff, they are high vibe. People will come to you in divine timing. They will not be your best friend that you gossip with, but they will be your spiritual ally for life because they are divinely meant to be there for you. And they won't be, It won't be like relationships that we had in the past. It'll be a new paradigm. And it is a time to be by yourself, because Frodo, we have to throw the ring of power into Mordor, and this means that we are letting go of Pisces and are willing for the king to return, and that is to allow the Adam back with the Eve, the androgynous ones that self-impregnated and live forever. And you are being asked to merge back into that energy, and don't look back. Yeah. Thank you, John. John has a great way to say this. So, John, I don't know if you have time to go live, but I'm sure everybody would love to hear what you have to say. Maybe it is a good moment to go live with you and talk about this. So, Cassie, you have a lot of people around you, clouds and this silent lucidity energy. And you're being asked right now to pretend like you're a soldier, and it's time to battle yourself, which means every time your mind goes to wanting to, like for me, when bad things happen like that, I just want a pacifier. I want to go and be in a baby crib. I want my mommy, and I don't want to do anything. I want to be taken care of. And I can feel where you are, I know. But we literally have to stay pretty focused right now, because there's a lot of shifts going on and we don't want to miss the choo-choo train. Yeah, we just have to be very selective. But here's the thing. Your double self will bring you who you need. And these people will be a mirror of you. So if they do cause drama, then it's your job to see these people as reflections of yourself, and you can choose to forgive and walk away or not. But your double will manifest as people, and if these people are jerks, then there's something within you that needs to be forgiven and healed. But if people that are coming to you are people who want you to become powerful and successful and joyful and sense of humor and all of that, then good job. Then you are seeing the mirror of yourself, which are people, and you're no longer seeing pain. Yes, everything is a lesson for you. Like, I realized some people in my life have mother issues, right? And they are my mother issues. And if I entertain that relationship of this mother issue, then I perpetuate that within myself. To cut that relationship off isn't cruel. It's really part of the healing. It's saying, I no longer want to play this game and feel these feelings. I no longer want to have mommy daddy issues. I no longer want to have these issues. So, you can talk with the person and say, look, I don't want to have that kind of relationship. And try to heal it. But if this person continues to perpetuate, those shadows of our past, the best thing to do is to walk away in peace and love and just close it out in a kind way and say, yep, I can see that I had pain there. I see it in your eyes, and I just don't want that to feel that anymore. And I don't want to experience that. I have forgiven it, and I'm ready to move on. And it is a very good thing to go ahead and just close that door. And if they come around all healed and happy and all that, then great. But if not, that's fine. Forgiveness is a ruthless act sometimes of cutting yourself. So if they are a mirror of you and you cut them out of your life, then you cut a piece of yourself out of your own emotion. and you're done with it. That's it. It's not mean. It's not cruel. It's just you're done. Yeah, and if you have people in your lives who are narcissists, these are little munchkins who are short of understanding, licking their little lollipops coming from the Lollipop Guild, and they have not grown their soul. Why would you stoop over for too long? It would hurt your back. You can't bend down and stoop over for too long to help those little munchkins. When you meet someone who is as tall as you, and they mirror your best self, that's the choo-choo train you want to ride. But if you meet someone who mirrors your worst self, don't get on that train. If you see a reptilian wicked witch in front of you, and this is who you were, or someone you're afraid of becoming, it's some kind of fear inside you, splash water on her. Tell her to F off and make her diminish into little smoke. In a ruthless way. And then suddenly, the soldiers and the monkeys that were against you will work for you. If God is for you, who can be against you? Isn't it funny? Yeah, boundaries. Boundaries are... It gets complicated. You guys want to go to Hogwarts and go to school? Children, let me do this. Children. I'm talking to myself too. I'm also a child. So, if you want to set boundaries, all the things in your house that have doors, close them. This is talking to your higher self. Your higher self understands action. Close all your doors. You're saying, okay, I want to set boundaries right now. This is why I make these cabinets, because they are a language to my higher self. I can actually talk to my higher self through opening and closing doors. So when you're ready to talk and open yourself up to new energies and new power, then you simply open the door and you put something powerful in there, like a powerful person. That is a communication to your higher self that you're ready to bring powerful energies into your life, and leave the door open and turn a light on. Turn on. Let's see if I can turn his light on. Oh, is the battery dead? I think I left the light on for a long time. I think the battery's dead. Anyway, you turn the light on as a communication to your higher self that you're ready to have powerful people come into your life, and you put light in there. And you leave it open. You might even put some smoke in there. That's what I do. I have all these things, and all of them have doors, and all of them open to a different world, and some of them have crowns and everything, and this glows in the dark. And you open the door, and you put lights inside. This is a communication. Like that. So if you have boxes in your house, if you're ready for powerful energies, open all your boxes, put powerful crystals in there. These are all communications, because action is a prayer. What does it mean with the wind is blowing your door open last night? So the wind blowing your door open, it could be two things. On a negative note, it could be that someone is entering into your energy space, opening a door that you did not open yourself, and you allowed it to happen because you didn't lock the door, or you didn't close the door all the way. So let's say you're thinking of a politician or a famous person or some jerk, and you allow them into your energy, and they're spying on you, they're watching you, they're feeling you, they could possibly cross-contaminate you, right? Because they're maybe jerks or whatever. That's the negative side. The good side is you may have an ally with the wind, and your wind may be your power ally element. And you might need to talk to the wind. And maybe you need to get up at 3:30 in the morning or sometime in the morning early and begin speaking to this new body. Because if we were in the body of Pisces, we are in a new body now, which means we're in a new energy. And we'll want to talk to this energy, this new body. And some people like to talk through water, some people talk through fire, some people talk through earth, animal, and some people talk through people, and some people like to talk to the wind. And if the wind is your ally, maybe the wind wants to talk to you. Or not. It all depends on how it made you feel. Air element are thoughts, John says. Air element trying to get in, but it forces its way because there's not an easy way in. Could be too. Thank you so much. You guys are so nice. I make all these. I make these cabinets. I'm trying to find a place to sell them like in Pensacola because they cost so much in shipping. When you guys order one, I usually charge $100 for them, right? But it's like $100 shipping. So if you live in California, it's like $80 for me to ship one of these cabinets. So, but I often make them with wands, and they come with little gifts inside, and they glow in the dark. Why? Because your soul glows in the dark. Let's see if I can make this one glow. See how it glows? But I think he glows too. Let me see. Yeah. You see her glowing. I'll just turn the light off. Let's have a glow in the dark party. Ooh. We'll turn this off. Turn this light off. So John, I don't know if I saw what you had to say, if you want to talk to people about some of the things that you're thinking about. See? She's coming into the door of light. Has to be activated by the sun. I wonder if his face glows in the dark. I think his wand glows. Yeah, see? It glows. What? And then, let's see. Maybe his face glows. I'm not sure. Yeah, his face glows. Of course it does. I gotta make everything glow. Now this, I wanted it to look like an oracle orb. You see how that glows. And then there's this one. And then there's this one. And then there's this one. What you doing?
Paul's going to be loud, so I'm closing the door.
Oh, okay. Then there's this one. Oh, wait, Nathan, I want to show everybody something. You can just close the other door. Just close this door. And then there's this one. And then there's this one. And then there's, let's show you this one. This one. They open the doors. Ooh. Put stuff in there. Close the door. Open the door. Castle. Mermaid. Pisces. Aquarius. Open the door. Stuff. Lights. Close the door. There are ways to pray. As an action prayer. Oh, this one's Hogwarts. So this one, you're on the choo-choo train. The choo-choo train has lots of lights. The foundation of the train is not the body of Christ now. It's like the body of Dumbledore. Someone's getting ready to go on the train. The train tracks, you are connected to both male and female. And there's a lot of freedom. There's there's butterflies and water and wands, and there's somebody flying with a wand, what? And an owl and a castle. And oh my gosh, it's an amazing place, and you get to fly. And then wait, what's inside? You got to open it up. You don't know. Inside is a choo-choo train going up, and a butterfly, and a bunny rabbit, and a book, and a bridge, and a sparkly world of light and life. So, this is an invention of mine. So, I invented these. And then these are tree people here. You look inside the tree, and there's a little birdie who talks inside her stomach. Hi, birdie. How are you? Do you want me to turn on the light for you? You do? You want me to turn the light on for you? Are you lonely? You feel sad in there? You got your little fairy right there. Let's go turn on the light for you so you're not lonely. I'll turn your light on. Let's see here. This one. Where's that other one? And I hear you, birdie. There we go. Your light's on now. You're not lonely. Are you happy now? You feel better? Now you don't, not in the dark. You want everybody to kiss you? Can you say something? Hello? Can you say something? Say chicka 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 chick 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 chick. Pop pop. Pop. Da 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 da. Hello, TikTok. It's a tree person, tree person, tree person, tree person. Mad Hatter female. She's a girl Mad Hatter. Bye, birdie. Bye. Look how many eggs I got today from my chickens. What? How are we going to eat all these? I have like 100 eggs. I don't know what to do with them. I have to give them away. So anyway, I still hear birdie. Anyway, that's what I do. You guys should do some stuff and some things too. Make some stuff. All right, let me see what John has to say. Yeah, that's about $120 worth of eggs. You guys should see how many eggs I have. I have over 100 eggs. All different color eggs, too. And they're all organic eggs because our chickens just run free out in the wilderness. And they go in the chicken coop at night, but they're free. Oh, you still can't record how to go live with you. All right, so let me see what I can do. I'm going to put you as guest. So I sent you in.
I am here. This is the first live. This is my first live ever.
It's your first live ever. Oh my gosh. So welcome everybody to John. Please follow him. And I just wanted to close out this last reading here. And oh my goodness, if this could just stay straight. Cassie, you're going to be okay, baby. Big hugs. And we're closing your reading out. But you're loved and you're not alone. But you have a lot of work to do because you have some great things that you're going to be giving everyone. And we're so, so happy about that. So let's go ahead and move forward. I just want to give you an introduction, John. John is a friend of mine. We've been friends for a while. I began being friends with him by giving him a reading, and then it sort of opened a bunch of doors. And John has taught me many things, and we kind of bounce off of each other a lot. And I have a lot of faith in what John has to say. So please do follow him. And we're going to talk a little bit. And if there's anything that we don't know, I'm going to do a quick reading about it. So if John says something that I disagree with, which I've told John, hey, it would be like totally entertaining if we don't agree. We'll do a reading on it.
And you know what? This is the other thing about about not agreeing or seeing something differently, guys. I made a video on this a couple days ago. So
Mhm.
what I realized is that a lot of time as I continue to learn more and as I continue to watch Mary's readings, she would explain things using different terms or different, a little bit different than I saw them. And it wasn't until a while after that that I realized that you're no two people are going to see things exactly the same. The same
Yes.
information will come through looking totally different because two different people have two different inner realities that are subjective based on your life experience. And then from that
Yes.
inner reality, you project an outer reality, but that's also personal and subjective. It is uh, the collective projective realities that creates our objective reality. So in other words, everybody's inner reality that's subjective combines, and that's the world we live in, where everything is the same. It's like an average of everybody's inner subjective realities. So that's
I will
why,
say it sounds like we're a lot of us are starting to speak very similar languages as if we are merging.
yeah, I agree 1,000,000%. And Mary, it was hilarious. I know you were while you were doing the reading and explaining things, you didn't see all the comments, but um, you started out the reading or towards the beginning talking about how synchronicities have been through the roof, and there were synchronicities literally going on left and right in the conversations as you did the reading. So
Wow.
yeah, it's definitely starting to sync. So just know that I wish someone would have told me that in the beginning, because there were times where I learned, like after 2 years of learning, I thought that everything that I learned was quote unquote wrong. Everything that comes across your path is how you learn. You just make sure you remember that any information that you receive has been filtered through someone else's desires. And that's why
Hmm.
you take what resonates with you and leave the rest.
Right. Absolutely. And John, there's something that we were going to talk about when we first wanted to go live together, and that was, and I know you're posting a lot of videos about things that are going to happen, but I was wondering if you could kind of bring forward the eclipse
Yeah.
on April 8th.
Yeah, so we could talk about it. So again, this is something that has been brought to my attention, and then as I started to kind of dig into it, I kind of formed some thoughts on it, and then I started getting downloads in the middle of the night. So a couple things about me real quick. A lot of my kind of aha moments or my downloads happen um, in between that stage where you're halfway asleep, halfway awake. Like I usually wake up in between 2 and 4, and for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been up 2, 3 hours every night because I keep getting downloads, and it's crazy. So I actually have to get up and write the stuff down so I don't forget it. The way that kind of I decide what truth is and what truth is not, right? Because how do you really know what anybody tells you or what you see? There's really no way to know, right? There really isn't.
Right.
So
Yeah, no.
the way that I kind of piece things together, my background is in microbiology. I did my bachelor's and my master's in microbiology, so I'm have a logical brain. And what I do is I like to look at the same information over several different sources, right? So I'll read the same story, but I'll go to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 different sources of someone else telling the information or telling the story, so that I can start to see patterns. Then I know the pattern part that's the same is truth, and the parts where it's different is where somebody changed it to their own desire, to reflect their own desire, and
Hmm.
that's where you could fill in the dots once you collect enough information and with what aligns with what you want.
Right.
So that's kind of how my brain works. So um, looking at the zodiac, okay, I believe that um, there everyone's heard the term as above so below, right? As within so without. What that means to me is that when we're born, we get imprinted with two sets of energies. Okay, the first set of energy is electromagnetic, which is basically all the energy that we see with our eyes, right, and that we can measure with our tools. And those electromagnetic energies come from the time and place that you're born, because it comes from where all the planets and stars are in the sky. Okay, so in your aura, basically what I believe happens is that when your soul goes into your body, your soul looks out of your aura, which you could think of as like a bubble, right? So that a certain part of the aura lines up with your eyes. So for if you're an Aries, you might be looking out of a red tinted window, versus if you're a Taurus, that window might be green, versus if you're a Gemini, that window might be purple, and so on and so forth. You're going to get a very specific view based on your viewpoint. So that's the imprint that's electromagnetic. The other half comes from your name. Your name imprints the spiritual energies that are dielectric and diamagnetic. Those are two things that I never learned in college or anywhere else. I just learned it recently, which is ridiculous. But that's why things like soul contracts, that when you look at your name, make a lot of sense. If you guys haven't ever Googled your full name and looked at what comes up, you'll find that other people that have your exact name have the same career, have the same interests, and so on and so forth. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. So when I found out that there was another eclipse, a total eclipse coming in 2024, that was like, okay, pay attention, because the first one that I ever remember was in 2017, right? Shortly after that is when things started to get bonkers. That 2017 total eclipse started, I think, my active spiritual awakening. I came out of kind of like the prep phase and went into the active phase. And if you count from 2017 to 2024, there's your magic number 7. So I started to think, okay, let me look at where the planets are when this eclipse happens. Okay. So the first thing I noticed is that if you take the path of the eclipse that's going to happen in 2024, it crosses exactly over a place in Illinois, when you cross it over the path that the sun took the eclipse of 2017. And the middle, where the X is, the middle of the X, right where it crosses, is over a place in Illinois called Little Egypt. I was like, okay, this is significant. It's the same thing with the train wrecks. I don't think it was happenstance at all that the first wreck happened in Palestine. Okay, all this stuff is done on purpose. And it all goes back to what Mary was talking about with the actions are prayers. When you act out a desire, you're communicating to your etheric twin to make it happen, so it'll manifest. So I think that those all go hand in hand. So when you look at the paths, it's in Little Egypt, and then when you break down the zodiac signs, so everybody knows that there's 4 different kinds of signs, and it's based on the elements, right? There's your fire signs, your water signs, your air signs, and your earth signs. Okay.
Right.
Air is made up of a combination of fire plus water, and earth is fire plus water plus air. So it's really fire, water, fire, water. Okay. But what is water? Turns out water can be further divided down into 3 fires. Okay. And the way that I found that out was through research of somebody called John Laurel Keeley. He was one of those guys that was big around the time of Tesla. A lot of their studies kind of went over each other, but he focused more on sound. Okay. Yeah. He believed that there was a completely different structure of atoms, molecules, and ether. And I'm making videos on it, but let's just say that what we learn now is not right. Okay. There's no such thing as protons or electrons. There's actually a trio group of spinning envelopes of ether around each layer. We won't get into that now, but bottom line is that's how I found out that there's 3 fires that make 1 water. Okay. And then the fires, what it all comes down to with the fires, there's 3 different kinds of fires that there can be. The first one is equivalent to the fire of Mars. Okay. The second one is the equivalent to the fire of what I call the dark moon. And then the third one is the fire equivalent of the, you could call it the scorpion tail, or the other Pisces fish, or just divine love. It's represented by a part of the energy that's trapped in Venus that they've distorted. So once I was able to get all of the signs, I would divide literally all of the elements down into one of those 3 fires. it tells a completely different picture, because what they've done is that they've mixed and matched stars to create new energies. So something else that I learned that a lot of people didn't know, or at least I didn't know, is that, did you guys know that all of the 12 zodiac signs, each of the 12 zodiac signs is constructed from combining three other constellations? So there are a total of 48 constellations in the sky. Okay. And the ones that form the ecliptic, or the sun's path, go right down the middle, right? So the way that they can change the energies that come from the stars, because each of these constellations has a group of stars, right? Many stars. They know which stars give out which energy and how to choose and pick one from the other. So what they did was they took the stars, they gave them new names. Okay, we'll talk about what's in a name at some point, because it's really important. You guys already know it's dielectric and diamagnetic. It's all of the spiritual energy that we're capable of creating and using, and they made brand new uh, energies that coded for things different than what they're supposed to be. All right. So when you look at what every single sign is, and what it encodes for, with the three different fires that I mentioned, Mars, Dark Moon, and Scorpion Tail, you can see what's going on in this specific total eclipse. So what I found was that not only is it a total eclipse, but there's also a full moon and a new moon on the same date. Now you tell me, because I'd love to know, how do you have a full moon and a new moon at the same time and date? Other websites said, oh, well, because this isn't this and this, you can't see the moon then. Bull. That's they're lying.
Yeah.
This is how I figured out. Well, I had suspected, but this is one of the confirmations that we don't have one moon, we have two. We have the regular moon, and we have what I call the dark moon. Okay, it's also equivalent to the energies of Mercury, and not the good ones. Okay, um, the reason that I figured that out, that there has to be three up there, it gets into harmonic intervals of the golden ratio vortex, or the golden vortex. I'm going to post videos on that, because trying to explain it just with words is like, forget it. I'll mix myself up. But basically, it all comes down to the math. And so what happens on this eclipse is that the sun. Okay, and then one more thing: the sun is electromagnetic. Okay, it's a combination of two energies that sit 90 degrees to each other. Okay, the moon is dielectric. Okay, I believe that the moon is its own energy source, its own light source. When you shine a light on a round sphere, it doesn't shine up the whole thing. You'd have to shine several different angles for the whole thing to light up. I don't buy what they tell us at all. I think it's its own light source of dielectric energy that's transferred into energy that we could see. And then the third moon, the dark moon, the reason it's dark, we can't see it, is because it's made of diamagnetism. And so what that means is that literally what I think happens is the dark moon revolves around the moon, and that's what creates the phases of the moon.
Ooh,
Okay,
that's
so
an interesting concept.
yeah, and basically why that's important is because that tells you that the moon controls the sun. Every time the dark moon goes around once, right? That's 28 days, that's a month. Then the sun ticks a little bit closer to either the Tropic of Capricorn or the Tropic of Cancer to make its sine wave, which creates the seasons.
John, can I tell you what my brain does when I hear you talk? Because when I hear you talk, my brain goes to a movie.
No, and you know what? And that's
Okay.
great. It's like I said, Mary. It's the same information. It's the same thing. Now, I
So
like.
you remember how we always talk about how the sun dominated or the moon dominates the sun, right?
Yep.
And then we went through a pole shift where the sun dominates the moon. But what
Mhm.
I was told by King Solomon in one of our readings here is that when you're talking about the golden ratio and how the golden ratio spins in a certain direction, well, it's almost as if we were going backwards in time for a long time, like we were degressing.
We have,
And
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 no,
yeah.
that's exactly. I agree with that 100%.
And then suddenly, because we went through this Solomon's Temple pole shift, now it's going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with
Hmm.
that. And the
Yeah.
reason the reason that we have been regressing actually and de-evolving, you could say, is because we've been trapped here. They've been recycling our soul over and over and over again, wiping out our memory each time. And after you give the soul so many negative vibrations over and over and over again, it starts to literally fall apart and devolves. It's
Yeah.
exactly what's happened, which is why
Yeah.
our friend stepped in to help us out.
Yes.
So anyhow, so you got the sun, the moon, and the dark moon, right? They're all gonna.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the Dark Crystal, but here you go with the movies, Mary. The Dark Crystal. There is like the apocalypse or Revelations or whatever. They call it the Great Conjunction. It's where three suns become one. Okay, so the moon and the dark moon, you could call them suns. They're actually suns, but and suns are not stars. I don't believe something different. We'll get into that another time. When you overlap all three of them, okay, what happens first when you have a total eclipse in the sky? Everything goes dark, right?
Hmm.
So on April 8th, that means the sun will be in Aries, right? Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is the red planet that is the ram, right? Very fiery energy, and also, like we talked about already, it is one of the core fire components in every sign. So what you can think of as happening, and it's also represented by the dark moon. So when the dark moon and the regular moon run in together into the sun, it's like the ram. You could imagine the ram charging into the sun. Okay. When that happens, now I don't know. Now this is all, guys. This is all just like a temporary belief. Is a words that Mary uses that I've adapted because it literally this stuff changed. I
It
mean, as
worked.
we learn,
Yeah. Yeah.
as we learn, it evolves. But
Yeah.
if Mars is ramming into the sun, I've heard several people now have dreams that the sun turns red, the sky turns blood red. Some of this stuff is in some of your religious dogma as well, right? And everything becomes blood red, and the sun is going to get bigger and bigger, bigger. It looks like it's expanding. That's why they've taught us that when the sun dies, it's going to expand into a red giant. I call bullshit on all that. Okay,
Yeah.
what I believe that is that what happens is the inside of Aries, or inside of the sign of Aries, there is a component of the of Mars, but there's also a component that joins onto it, which is the scorpion tail. Okay, right now Scorpio is only a half of a sign. So is Pisces. So really, there are only 11 full zodiac sign energies. There's only 11. The other two are halves, which makes 12, right?
Hmm.
So the scorpion tail is where they screwed up. And this is why scorpions kill all the gods and all the stories and everything like that. They made the scorpion tail part of the divine feminine, which is death and destruction. Well, they inversed everything and rotated it 90 degrees. So it's actually backwards and upside down.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was this scorpion tail, by combinations that it makes, started going rogue. And right now there is a loose scorpion tail in the moon and the dark moon. And so when it aligns with different planets and different star systems, it's literally stinging it and killing it, or reverting its energy back from upside down to right side up. Okay, and this is what I think happened to the moon itself. I don't know if anybody has seen the moon. A few weeks ago, it went from being left to right to up and down. This is what I think happened. When you knock something 90 degrees, it's out of phase of where it was before. When something
Wow.
goes out of phase to us, we can't see it anymore. So to me, what that means is that the scorpion tail stung something, and in the moon itself, knocked it back the way it's supposed to be. So
Uh, yeah.
go ahead, Mary.
I was gonna say I just did a reading where somebody had this spiral, and how this person from Malaysia, or where anyway, somewhere in Asia, um, this man who died came forward in my art and showed that we weren't once a spiral. We were actually like a puddle, like this.
Yes,
Eh,
equal.
Yeah, and then it showed that it was like a warning to her. Like it showed a pathway going to Mars, and then it said free under Mars. And so
Mhm.
I didn't understand what
Yeah,
that
so
meant.
so the 369 thing right now,
Hmm.
that's part of the golden vortex or the golden ratio. Okay,
Hmm.
so let me explain. The combination of three energies makes a fourth. Okay, but three energies can never be balanced appropriately. All right, so if you take the spiral, right, Mary, you
Hmm.
create the spiral by creating by at each harmonic or each level up from the beginning. So you start at a dot in the middle, right?
Hmm.
And then it expands outward. So
Hmm.
every so much length, if you put a dot, that means in order to create continuing the spiral, it needs to not be equal, right? So the Fibonacci sequence goes 1, 1, 2, right? So you do 1 plus 1 is 2, and then
Yeah.
2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8. So you see how each number doesn't match the one before. This is how they keep us separated from the natural rhythm of things. How it should
Oh,
be is doubling. One,
yes.
1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's I assume that's what we saw. That's why they call it a world egg. That's why eggs
Hmm.
are the shape of eggs, because
Hmm.
it reflects. It's supposed to be a sphere. Okay, it's supposed to be a perfectly balanced sphere. A Merkaba makes a sphere when it spins. All right, the egg is caused by a misalignment or imbalance in the structure from the five vortex. So ovals, ellipticals, rectangles have certain shapes have this uh, golden vortex energy encoded in with it, literally encoded in with it. Anything that gets close to the number 1.618 is going to be dampened or negatively turned, sucked into the five vortex. And I'll
Okay.
get into stuff like that, later.
That makes sense then, because I honestly sometimes I see things when I do my readings and I have no clue what it means to
Yeah.
see the spiral, the puddle, Mars, free, because the spirit talking through was way smarter than me.
No, no,
And
no.
I
That's
just
but
know.
no, but Mary, that's the thing is that the word smart or intelligence, that's all that was all created in this duality to create competition between
Yeah.
people. The truth of it is that our spine, right now we have Ida and Pingala. Those are the two serpents that wind all the way up and meet out of our forehead and the back of our head, right? It's the moon
Yeah.
and the sun channels. We're not supposed to have two. There's supposed to be
Yeah.
one.
Right.
Okay. The second one that they added in there is the moon channel. And what that did was it allowed them to extract the spiritual energy from the one that's supposed to be there. What happens is that and that happened when quote unquote God came down and separated everybody and changed their languages. What
Yes.
when you have just one around the middle, like it's supposed to be, that acts as a translator, so that no matter what language anybody speaks, you automatically understand them.
Yes.
So
Yes, and that goes so along with that exact reading. I actually went back to the Tower of Babel, and where we all spoke one language, and how we were separated not only by language, but Adam being separated from Eve, and
yep,
somehow all this separation
yep,
um
yep. So that's
confused. Yeah.
so that's what I mean. There's no such thing as smart. These are all artificial concepts. Everyone has an energetic imprint on them from their name and the time and date that they were born, which that's how you translate. That's your translator. Okay.
Yeah.
Just because we translate it different, we're both talking about the same thing. And that's what's so cool about what's happening right now in the world, is that the way I explain it, some people are going to cross their eyes and be like, I have no idea what dude just said. Right. and I know that, and I have to remind myself a lot of times, slow down, John. Talk in, like, terms that people are familiar with, and that's what Mary. I mean, I come to you to learn the most. I literally learn from you the most.
Mhm.
So that should tell you everything you need to know. This is one of the funny things about me and Mary, you guys, is that there's been at least a dozen times, and I'm not exaggerating either. There's been at least a dozen times where I will be studying something, uncover something, piece things together with patterns, and Mary will text me, be like, "Hey, do you know something about the Titans?" And I was literally just studying it. This has happened
Mhm.
over a dozen times, which is crazy. So this is why Mary
Mhm.
and I've gotten to be besties.
Yeah, because I mean, I'll see these things in here, and I'll come to a conclusion, and John will come to the same conclusion using all kinds of different other means that I wouldn't even consider. So it's just like he's the lines and I'm the color inside, and we just come to the same conclusion almost every single time. And I love that because especially I love it because there's some things I really don't understand, especially when it comes to planetary alignments and planetary influence on individual and collective consciousness and where we're going because we want to know where we're going. I mean, it's scary. I mean, we feel like we're going through a black hole sometimes. It's like the movie Interstellar, and you're just seeing the past flash before you, the future pass before you, and our dreams are becoming strange, and we're starting to have synchronicities.
Yeah.
And so having these
So
answers and especially connecting the dots, going, okay, your dots are connecting my dots. I'm beginning to trust what we're seeing here.
yep, absolutely. And what kind of the I had a dream last night. I don't always remember my dreams, but I connect the dots in my head during the day a lot. And what was very clear today was that it was so there's two separate processes going on right now simultaneously. The first is that there's the global awakening with, like, literally everyone who's going to wake up is waking up, and they're just starting to be like, oh my God, this is this. Oh my God, did you know this is this? And then there's those people that had started awakening, a few years back or however long ago, that know a little bit more, who are now at this point, when the others are starting to awaken, they're getting activated, like, to the next level. And because the idea is going to be for the people that know more, that were awakened early, to link up and join together to help them awaken everybody else. So in order to do that, we need to all somehow get on the same page. And what I saw was that the same page is all boils down to one thing, because I'm like, how can we all know the same stuff? There's so much, right? It's like insane. The
Yeah.
way that we all link together is we cancel our fear. When you
Yeah.
cancel your fear, your own unique imprint that you have from the time you were born, the place you were born, your zodiac sign, and your name will shine through brighter. Because fear is just an inhibitor. So I started making videos today, literally, I'm going through different light worker types, like literally different personality types. The first one I
Oh,
did was the
wow.
shy light worker,
Yeah.
it's a story, and each one is going to be a short story using movies. Mary, that got that from you, so thank you. Using movies and songs that we have emotional connections to, right? So I'm actually using the Matrix's predictive programming. Everything's duality. So guess what? There's stuff that's going to help us too. So thank you very much. Putting
Yeah. Oh,
them
yeah.
together to basically
Yeah. What they intend for
putting
evil, we're going to intend for good.
Yes, literally. So, each one is going to have each one's gonna be about a movie that contains a character that starts out one way, uh, basically somehow through a process gets rid of his or her fear, and then what happens afterwards, and it's going to correlate with a type of light worker personality type. The first one that I put the first one up today, and I was in tears. So I'm curious to see what the reactions are going to be, because if you watch it and it causes emotion, pay attention to emotion, guys, because emotion is how your higher self and your spirit team actively communicates with you. Your emotions are supposed to be a barometer, just like your
Yes.
thoughts. So
Yes.
when
Oh, yeah. I love that.
if you react very strongly emotionally to something, doesn't matter what it is, good or bad, pay attention. But especially if it's heartwarming, and it comes from the bottom of your toes, and maybe it's like, so one of the times it happened to me, for example, one of my favorite movies as a kid was The Neverending Story. I loved it. I still love it. Right? I loved the song, loved it. I was showing a friend's daughter it one night. It was a year ago in April, and I was watching it for the umpteenth gazillion time. And at the end, when Atreyu finally met the Empress, and then Empress met Bastion. I couldn't, like, it literally was coming from my toes. I started crying. I mean, it was so deep, and I was like, "What the hell is wrong with me? I've seen this about a million times, and it's just me and this 5-year-old little girl." I'm like, "Dude, I'm losing it, John." But
Yeah.
it's not. It was finally I pieced it together. Pay attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to what's going on, because there's something that you're looking at this for a reason, and you need to be aware of what it is. So
Yeah.
listen to your emotions. Your emotions are your strongest tool in your toolbox as of right now.
Yeah, one song that is kind of making me teary-eyed for out of the blue, no reason at all, is the song Time Passages. And the little lyric saying, "There's something back there that you left behind. Oh, time passages." And I'm just like, why is that? Why does that song make me emotional? And I think that it seems as if we have shifted time and we have left something behind.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if we left ourselves behind and we've left people behind. And then I was walking to my car today, and even though my husband is still here with me, I thought I miss something about him, that he's not the same. I'm not the same.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something we left behind. And that part, I know we're not supposed to look back, because of course we'll just fall back or whatever. But it was a pretty strong, deep feeling, like when the oracle says, "Bastion, call out my name or we will have nothing," right?
Mm-hmm. And there's the name thing again. So
Yes.
Bastion gives her a new name, and it creates a new world. So that's
Yes.
what I was talking about. What's in a name earlier when you were talking about Jesus, Mary.
Yeah.
And I said, and the reason I said what's in a name when it comes to Jesus is because I think it's pretty common knowledge now, or commonly accepted, I guess I should say, that the name Jesus didn't no one ever heard of that until it came to the Bible, because the letter J is a new letter that they made up. Okay. And it used to be Y, which correlates with his quote unquote real name. The reason they did that, you guys, is because using his real name, when they used that name, it would attach the energies of that name. So they had to create a different name, which isn't the true Christ, and Christ should be pronounced Christ. They messed with our vowels too. I'm gonna go over all this stuff in videos. But bottom line is that the reason they changed his name and created a brand new letter to go along with it, even, right, is because that would allow them to create energies of that name, so that would be invoked and impacted every time somebody utilized that name. So there's a lot in a name, which is why the stuff that Mary teaches about your etheric twin is huge. Because when you create a new name for yourself, you get a name when you're born, you have no choice over. You can create a second name for yourself, which balances your full name, right? Does everyone ever wonder why we have 3 names? First name, middle name, last name? That's to
No.
reflect the Trinity, which is unbalanced. Okay, the real balance is 4. The number that they teach us is bad luck, because of course they do. It's not supposed to be Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It's supposed to be Father, Mother, Son, Daughter.
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
and there's all kinds of tricks when it comes to sacred. There's a lot of secrets in sacred geometry that I'm going to go over also, including how they use the Platonic solids to keep us trapped here. One of the gazillion ways. But so anyway, um, if you give yourself a new name to represent the merging of you and your etheric twin, right? That then completes the circuit. And I'm going to make videos too about how do you take your etheric twin. They call your etheric twin a horse. It's always referred to as a horse. And I have a partial video. I didn't really explain a lot on my page about the Last Supper that proves that it's the etheric twin is a part of you that's unseen. If anybody's ever looked at the Egyptian zodiac at Dendera, there's a lot more information, because they have pictures of all 48 constellations, including the zodiac, right? And in the middle or is it not in the middle? I'm sorry. In one of the, I don't remember what part of the sky. There's so much going on in it, but there is a horse, and the horse does not have a head. The horse doesn't have a head because it isn't a horse. It's the other half of who we were before they changed our body. So our etheric twin, guys, sits at your sacral chakra, between your sacral and your solar plexus, right? And it is 90 degrees out of phase from us, which means it sticks straight out. It's like you have, okay, it's if you take somebody that's laying down and you rise them up to your sacral level and they're looking straight down with the feet sticking out of the back, right? That's what your etheric twin looks like, except it's not a human. All right. So if a person was like that, looking down parallel with the ground at the height of your sacral chakra, right? And that person took his feet or her feet and bent it at their waist so that it would touch the ground. Now, how many legs do you have? You have four
Oh,
legs.
yeah.
You have four legs like a horse. Okay. The reason they call it a horse and not something else is because there's a very specific reason. I think I just shared this with Mary not too long ago. I poor Mary. I text her at these random hours with these downloads. I'm like, one of these days she can be like, okay, he's lost it for real. but if you look at all of the Greek, Roman, all kinds of different mythology, even in the Egyptian, there's this the gods, quote unquote, who I correlate with the Anunnaki or the fallen ones or the elite, whatever you want, right? The ones that are in power that have kept us here. Those they hated centaurs. Centaurs are half man, half horse creatures. And the reason they hated them is because centaurs were divine creatures. There's a lot of movies. One of the movies that Mary turned me on to, which was brilliant, and I loved it, and I learned so much from it, was The Golden Compass. The Golden
Yes.
The Golden Compass has all the people in it have their higher self following them around in animal form. Everyone had a different animal form, but they called it. They called their animal a demon. Huh?
Yeah, I know.
So wait, listen to this. So hold that thought for a minute with the demon, okay? So
Right.
basically, when you have something that is part human form, part animal form, it indicates that that being has is balanced or united with their higher self, meaning they're very spiritually aware, which gives them a lot of powers. Okay, the Anunnaki or the elite or whoever or whatever. I'm just going to use the term Anunnaki. You guys all understand what I'm talking about. Now, I don't want to. Sometimes I don't like to use Anunnaki because it shifts into the alien stuff. Pretend it's not alien. We're just going to use them as the beings that came here and did this. They were also called the gods. Okay,
Yeah.
quote unquote. So the reason that they are so hungry for power is because what they are artificial etheric beings. Okay. When you think of something enough, a lot of you guys have probably heard someone say, oh, well, that's you crystallize your thought form, right? And that is part of the manifesting process now. Because of time and the weight and gravity slowing things down here, right? It takes us a certain amount of time and persistence to do things over and over and over before it'll manifest. That's all going to go away, but that's how it's been for a long time. So what the etheric beings do or can do is, or what they can't do, I should say, is they don't have any spirit running through them. Okay, our soul, you could think of as an etheric being, but our soul has spirit running through it, right? Spirit is
Right.
like the blood of our soul, right? You could think of spirit as fire and ether as water. Okay, these thought forms don't have any fire running through them, any spirit running through them. All right, they're alive. They're considered artificial intelligence because they're consciousness that was created by another consciousness, but that they're not connected to source being spirit or the animating factor that makes you live forever, right?
Right.
Because they're not supplied with that. Most of us, when we think of a thought in our mind over and over again, that thought only exists when we are paying attention to it. Attention, I've made another video on this. Attention is the true currency.
Yes.
Attention is
That
energy.
that's such a good point.
So that's why the only way for a thought form to exist for most of us is while we're thinking of it, right? Well, there are ways, and there's magic ways. What magic isn't something that's pretend. Magic is real, and magic, what I call magic, is the science of consciousness that we've never been taught, but it's
True.
real. So what happens is these etheric beings, there are ways through sacred geometry and other thing of specific things on specific dates where you can do a ritual that will give these etheric thought forms a very short temporary supply of spirit. Okay, where do they get the spirit from? They sacrifice somebody and they
Yes.
transfer spirit from that person. Okay, so now you have an etheric being who has manifested, right? But that etheric being only has a certain amount of spirit in him or her, and in order to get more, they need to steal it. They need to vampire it off. Well, that's what's been happening to Earth for the past eons. They've been
Yeah.
taken, and the way that they collect our our spirit or our life force, you could call spirit life force too, it's the same thing, is through our emotions, and we'll get into that another time. But that's what the Anunnaki are. They are etheric beings, right? Which is why they can manifest and demanifest. They do all this stuff. They can't do this the same way we do. We do all this stuff by thinking and feeling, guys. The way they do it, because they're artificial, they have to use artificial means, i.e., technology. Okay. And
Yes.
so that's the reason that they hated the centaurs, because the centaurs could do all this stuff just organically, and they hated them for that. Okay, so what they did was they said in all the stories that the centaurs were evil, even though they had the most wisdom and they were looked to for wisdom and they helped and blah blah blah. I mean, it goes back and forth so bad it's ridiculous. But anything that is part animal, all right, is part divine. Okay, literally connected with their higher self. I believe 100% that before Earth was corrupted by these beings who posed as good guys, it was the biggest deception ever.
Yeah.
What I believe, that the form of the original divine Earth, quote unquote, gods, okay, divine beings, our human form, this is an artificial form, because they remember man was made in the image of God, right? Well, if God's an Anunnaki, as far as the story goes, our human form is artificial. The way we do things is upside down and backwards. I believe, and in all of the Egyptian zodiac stories and all the mythology from Babylonia, right, in Sumeria, the original they call the demons things like the bison man, the man who was half bull, half man. He stood on 2 feet, but he had the head of a bull. Or the Anzu bird, which was basically a griffin, part lion, part bird. And what they did then was they, quote unquote, killed them. The way you kill a being like that is separate their energy. So the griffin, half of it went to be Leo the lion, and half of it went to be Aquarius, which is represented by an eagle. Okay. And then they filled in the other half with a reflection of distorted light, and they inversed it and tilted it 90 degrees so that it was locked in. So I believe that the quote unquote demons of those stories are the real earth gods, like the Minotaur, right? The Minotaur, the legend of the Minotaur, he's in the middle of the labyrinth, right? And
Yeah.
Hercules went in and beat him with his hands and won because he was evil. No, 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 no. The Minotaur was the good guy. That's literally what I believe. And now
So I just did a piece where it's just pretty much your twin. Okay. So this is uh really androgynous looking beings, the original Adam and Eve. And so two heads, right? And then there's a bull here. And then, but our original self was diminished. I think like the flood or something happened to our original self. And the original self has this pointy hat, like Santa, like the people from
R
Armenia,
yep, AR,
AR.
the
And
opposite of Ra, the sun god.
yeah, opposite of Ra, the sun god. Yeah. And so what happened was they took our soul, which are the four, this four, and they put us into high tech, human robotic, whatever we are now. But the original twin was two heads, two horses. I don't know what the bull means. And then thought going this way, thought going that way, and then HV. I'm not really sure what that is either.
Okay.
But anyway, obviously frequency manipulation as well. And there's a dog biting something here.
Yeah, so the HV, Mary, I believe is now this is here's a perfect example, guys, of what Mary sees and now what I see, and this is what's interesting. So take what resonates with you and leave the rest. There are things that Mary think differently than me, but they're both the same thing. It's through each other's filters.
Yeah.
So whatever you feel it is what it is. Okay. When I see that
Yeah.
HV, I have a ancestry with Scandinavia. So runes are a way that I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Norse runes. So the HV at top, H is a rune called Hagalas, which is it means hail. Hail is essentially the structure of antimatter that all matter is made out of. And
Mm-hmm.
and the V is an actually, if you tilt it 90 degrees, which is what they did to it, it looks like a C, and that's called
Mm-hmm.
Kinaz. Kinaz is divine love. Okay,
Mm.
so basically, and Kinaz represents fire. So there, right there, you have fire and ice right there in the middle.
Okay. Okay. Yep. I mean, there's a small bull right here going through a portal
Mm-hmm.
here. But this bull is holding a key, but this is our original form. It really looks like an elf. It really looks like a Santa Claus or the people from Armenia, but it also looks like a fish eating their head. So
Mm-hmm.
if you tilt the hat this way, it looks like a fish eating someone's brain. So this is our brains getting eaten into the age of Pisces, or I don't know what, but there's something about our original self. I've seen this many times in my readings where the god R from Armenia showed a giant flood and how these hats reflected that we had um, our minds were bigger than they are now.
Yeah.
And then the minds were cut off by these round-headed hats, and the round-headed hats began to flatten out as a reflection that we were cut. And
Yeah.
then the cutting turned us into what we are now, where we have no connection to God.
So this is another prime example of why I am just absolutely floored every single time by Mary's pieces. So you guys see the bull in the middle there? That bull, it looks like it's a half of a bull, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see its front two legs, but not its back two legs, right?
Yeah.
If you look at how Taurus is drawn, right? Taurus in the sky, it's always drawn as a bull, but only the front half, just like Mary shows right here. The reason why I believe is because that's not a bull. That
Okay.
is that is something that is an original mythological creature that I was confused when I first heard the story of the bison man, right? Because I'm like, wait a minute, if he's got the legs of a man and then later on he guards the or protects the sun god, I don't get it. Well, this is how they warp the story. One of the original protector gods that kept everything harmony and all the good stuff that we want, right? It was a being, and it was called Ophiotaurus. The front half of him was a bull, just like this, two legs,
Mm-hmm.
and the back half was a serpent or a fish,
Mm.
which became the back of Capricorn, the goat fish.
Okay. And
Okay.
there's the fish right there.
Yes. Now, so the bull represents one polarity, so one of the faces up at the top, and the fish or the serpent represents the other polarity. The serpent usually is magnetism, and the other part of anything with a fish or a snake is the male part. So the bull is the male part, the fish is the female part.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to break it to all the guys out there, but here's the deal. Magnetism is where the power is. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's women. Okay, men are represent the electric component or thought. Women are emotion or magnetic. And here's the truth. You cannot even have the electric component without the magnetic component. So literally all of the power that exists in form comes through the female because that's who gives birth to the babies. So
Yes.
so what they did was they took the fish, they hooked it onto their artificial male form, which is the goat, Aries the ram, right?
Right.
And and so that's why they show the bull, Taurus the bull, as only half of it. It's because it's not a bull. It's the front half of Ophiuchus. They have all these legends about if you found Ophiuchus, the reason they were after it in the first place is because there was a prophecy that said if you can kill it and get its entrails, right? The inside of its intestines. You can have the control of the gods, and that's exactly what they did. What?
So you see the hoof stepping on the entrails that's coming off
Yep,
the bull, like I don't know,
yep,
maybe like a mermaid fin or something, but the horse is stepping on it because see, our original self had a double that could see, and what we're time travelers, we could see the truth and we could
being,
step on, but we don't now.
yep. But our etheric twin can.
Our twin can.
Okay, and so when finally Zeus was able to kill Ophiuchus, cut it apart, and get its entrails. I never knew this before, but do you guys know that the strings of a lyre, like a harp instrument,
Hmm.
they're made from the entrails of a bull or a cow.
Wow.
So that means that the six notes of the lyre, Lyre, it's like a harp.
Hmm.
That is those six tones are literally the tones of creation. And that's the secret meaning behind all of this is
Which
that
is why the Golden Compass, the main character's name was Lyra.
bingo, Lyra was also a star system that they exploded. That was Gate 8. That came in one of my readings. May I remember Gate 8 with in between the
Mm,
TT, which was also the top half of Gemini, and they hide it.
yes.
They hide it behind the cage of Gemini. And that's why you saw between those two Gemini conservatories, Mary,
Hmm.
that round ring, right? If you zoomed up in it, it had six. It had three lines and then three lines. Those are the
Yes.
six notes of the lyre.
Oh,
So
yes.
they once they got control of that or knowledge of that, they were able to defeat the gods, the earth gods, which were these animal beings.
That's what I always thought. And yeah, I mean, maybe it's like male, female, animal spirit. We were
Yep.
like,
Yep.
but there has to be a four in order for it to be balanced. Three doesn't really balance, just spins.
Nope. That's why I see 2x is two times. Two times two is four. That's
Oh,
right. Three,
okay. Okay.
three
Now
just
that makes sense.
yep, three just and what this now here's the thing I want to say. So they called those things demons, right? They called
Yeah.
them demons, but if they were demons, then why did they imitate all their animal parts to represent the divine power? For example, if you look at the Egyptian goddesses, they all have bull horns, cow horns, right?
Hmm.
That's from Ophiuchus. That's what that represents. A lot of the gods have horns of a ram. Okay, from Aries. What they did was they artificially mimicked these specific parts of these animals because these animals held divine powers. So you wonder why you always see the same weapons and the same jewelry, right? So jewelry is the passive form of a divine weapon. A weapon is the active form or the masculine form.
Yes.
Weapons and like swords, okay, bow and arrow. The bow and arrow, what it stands for? The bow is the bull's horns, and the arrow that shoots out of it is the bird part of the griffin, the front half. So literally every weapon that they used and every piece of jewelry that they used was an artificial or man-made form of a divine power.
Wow. I
Now,
mean, Moses had the bull
yeah,
horns.
yeah, yeah. They're all over the Bible. You could find them. Now, this is what I want to say because I always I always need to make sure I say this when I talk about the original Earth gods. They call them demons. Here's the
Yeah.
thing, guys. That does not mean that there are, quote, demons that are stuff you want to be messing with. Because here's what I believe happened based on my patterns that I've connected. After they had control, right? Because they hated animals and because behavior manifests power, right? What they did was that they made humans in the form of gods of themselves, right? Which were Anunnaki, artificial. That's why
Hmm.
they recreated animals they recreated everything on the earth with the distorted DNA, right? That only partially worked. That's why
Yeah.
we eat animals, guys. We eat animals to mimic the absorbing of their divine powers. As long as we eat animals, those quote unquote gods absorb the divine powers of those original earth beings. Just and it's the same reason why you eat the body of Christ and drink the blood of
Yeah.
Christ. It's the same thing. You're absorbing powers. Okay, so the
Oh,
reason I
yeah.
bring that up is because they did create new beings, which are what we call demons today. All right, they are etheric thought forms made by the Anunnaki that need to, in order to stay alive, need to vampire off of something else. That's why a lot of times when you hear of people astral projecting, the astral realm that has been available to us up until recently, it has been the fallen astral realm. It's an artificial astral realm. Okay, the Milky Way is an artificial reflection of Andromeda. That's how this whole thing began. And so the artificial and astral realm, when you hear people that have astral projected multiple times, I've read multiple books on it because I wanted to do it so bad. The first thing they
Yeah.
teach you is how to protect yourself because you get attacked immediately by all kinds of creepy shit, all kinds.
You
And
have to have your double self. You can't go alone. You have to have that rebirthed and aware of your double twin.
yes, but this is the thing. I started to believe now the reason I couldn't do it was because my frequency literally I couldn't match it. And that's why I couldn't project out into it. I'm still trying. I'm still trying. But bottom line is that if these things attack you, there's small little guys that you can shoo away with your hand, but then there are really scary demons that could like mess you up in your mind and like put you in a funky place with your
Just
mind.
quickly, somebody asked in the comments, do we eat meat or no?
So listen, right now, guys, we are still in these bodies underneath these energetic conditions, right? What this awakening is happening, and these what they call ascension symptoms, right, that are uncomfortable and are weird, and no one can figure them out. That is our system changing. It happens very, very slowly, so that we don't poof up into smoke for good. All right. We each have our own spirit team helping us through this process too. All right. And so right now we don't have a choice but to do what is needed for the vehicles that we're in now, because these vehicles, as distorted and corrupted as they are, we're in them still, and our souls are in them, and we need them to be functional. So right now, I know a lot of people that have I personally I can't eat much meat anymore, like at all. I have a couple pieces for nutritional value, and I it literally makes me sick now. I can almost eat nothing. I'm drawn
Yeah.
a lot more to fruit.
I eat almonds. I drink hot tea. I mean, I'm being told to stop eating very much. It's a fasting of people, fasting of our emotions, fasting of beliefs and food and everything. It's like a major fast of all poisons and toxins that lead to death, basically.
Yeah. So the answer to the question is listen to yourself. If you are craving something, eat it. Don't worry. Don't let outside information, right? It doesn't matter who it's coming from. Don't let outside information dictate what you do, especially if what you are feeling it goes in another direction.
Yeah.
Remember, it's all through our own filter. So listen to yourself and do
Hmm.
what you feel.
And I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about your own brain that does work like the golden compass. I've told you guys this story about how I was taking a friend of mine to church and I was thinking about the church before I went to sleep. My twin, my double, I can see through the eyes of my double, went to the person for some reason who was the leader of this church. It was called St. Agatha in Definiak Springs, Florida. I went into a little white house and there was a black blob there that yanked my soul up to the ceiling and slammed me down to the ground. I had no power over this thing.
Mhm.
Okay. And then when I go to the church the next day, the woman I saw was the leader of that church, and I'd never seen her before. So don't underestimate your power in your mind. That you don't have to, like, if you're thinking about people, be careful, because if you are not seeking first higher realms, and you don't realize that a person you're thinking about or a place that you're thinking about is connected to a dark or lower realm, you'll be in the midst of a reptilian wicked witch, the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
And so this woman ended up telling me, yes, I live in a little white house, and I do have a ghost in my house, but he's not a demon. But according to what I saw, he was kind of demonic in the sense that it was dark, it was black, and it had complete control over me. Um, so I think that we have to watch what we think about. So don't think about politicians or famous people, because
Mhm.
you're double, you're twin. If you are in the swamp of sadness, your Artex, which is your white horse, will fall in the swamp of sadness if that's where your mind goes.
Yep.
And your Artex can live forever, or your Artex could go into the swamp of sadness. It all depends on where you focus your mind.
Yeah, and that goes with this reading that you did today too with CASIE. Like the biggest takeaway today, which was again synchronicity, crazy style with
Yeah.
what I was working on that you had no idea yet. Right now, this is where I think the biggest thing is right now, guys. Once you realize that you literally you because of your free will and because of who we really are, you everything that happens to you is done by you. Okay. When something negative happens to you, all right, emotions are not supposed to be something that make you suffer. Emotions are a barometer. What a barometer does is it gives you information. Use the information to learn. Every single experience that evokes emotion in you, good, bad, or ugly, is a lesson. Understand what the lesson or what the message is, and then incorporate it into your life. Okay. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't, it's going to come back stronger, and it's going to keep coming back stronger until you get the message, because that is what you picked for yourself to learn here when you come here. All right. And so once you once you learn the you get up to a point where you cross a threshold. And once you cross that threshold and you really believe, you've had enough experiences to believe that everything that's happening to you is for you, and everything that happens to you is for you for a good reason. You will start to believe that literally you really are in control of your life, and anything that happens to you negative past that threshold point is because you are allowing it. So what does that mean? It means, like Mary said, if you think about politics, for example, side A or side B, right? That is engaging with intentional low frequencies. So when you engage with it, when I say engage, I mean think about it. I mean watch it on TV, watch it on TikTok, even just some people are like, "Oh, I just think it's entertaining." Nah, well maybe you do, but inside of your head, you are processing all of this. And when you process something actively with your attention, right, the real currency, your attention, energy goes where your attention goes. So when you engage with anything, you're putting your attention onto it, which is a energetic channel. And once that energetic channel is established, you are able to send information and energy back and forth, which means they can send some to you also. So that's why I was talking with Drew earlier, and I had said don't engage with anything of a lower frequency vibration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he clarified, and he was like, does that mean isolate yourself? No, absolutely not. And that was a great question, which is why I wanted to bring it up before
Mm-hmm.
I forget. I'm not saying isolate at all. All I am saying is to not engage with things that are a lower frequency of vibration. Okay, so all that means is observe it. Don't pay. Don't give it any thoughts. Don't give it any feelings. Don't give your opinion in your head. Don't think, oh, I could help. No. We don't want any of that. It's there as bait. Okay, and the more of us that can get to that point with just moving on past it without engaging with it, the faster that the shift is going to happen. Okay,
You need to say that with a megaphone. That is
Well, I know,
so.
I know. So, if anybody has watched Ashiana Dean, she talks about everyone's the whole when you hear raise your vibration, the dark side knows about this awakening, right? So they have their own forces out teaching us fallen or incorrect information, literally.
Yeah.
And the term raising your vibration is one of those. Okay, believe it or not, you actually want to lower your vibration. You want to raise your frequency of oscillation. Oscillation is on and off or back and forth.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
when you raise your oscillation, you lower your vibration. All right, the way you lower your vibration to nothing is silence. I have the
Yeah.
needle, becoming nothing. That means meditating with no thoughts, no feelings, just still. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason they tell you to do that is because that's the way, that's the only way for any information to get past the electromagnetic currents of your thoughts and emotions that bounce it all right off of you. So, I forget, I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that, Mary?
Well, I was just thinking about, uh, I guess I was thinking about this symbol right here, how it looks like a fan, and how the fan, if it's just sitting still, and how it has the 0 point energy in the center, and it looks like a cross.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you know what?
and
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and I was just gonna say with not engaging. Um, So, for instance, I just wanted to give you a little something that happened was someone I dearly love. I met on the spirit realm, and they had little spiders coming off of them going into my ear.
Mm-hmm.
And your dreams will tell you through symbology. Now, sometimes you'll think of people and you will see through their eyes and you will think that you are them. You will feel like them. You will see their world from their point of view. You might carbon copy people you love onto their loved ones because you aren't aware that you are seeing through someone else's eyes. But sometimes you'll see someone you love and you care about, and they seem very nice, but then you'll notice that they have some little something. Um, just because people are nice, also, you need to pay attention to your dreams because your twin will tell you everything. Your twin is a time traveler and
Mm-hmm.
knows everything. And it doesn't mean that someone's evil, it just means that someone maybe was indulging in low self worth, self importance, politics, something that's making them kind of parasitic.
Right. Or they're
And
unaware, right?
or they're unaware of it. They don't even know. So we don't need to be cruel about it, but sometimes we just slowly step away, walk away slowly until it clears out and then maybe re-engage again. But sometimes we have to, when we are friends with people and we are thinking about them, we need to pay attention to our dreams because right now this corona, I believe, is a crown chakra thing
Yep.
that our minds are becoming each other, and some of us aren't safe to be part of
Yep.
because we have low self-worth, self-importance, and we're polarized by the matrix or something, and we have to be 0 point energy for us all to be kind of safe at this time.
Yep. And what you just said there, Mary, with talking about man, I see this is what happens. I got stuff coming in and out of my head so fast I forget things that lies in there. You were talking
Yeah.
about damn it. Oh, about engaging, right? So this is the thing with what you're saying about good people, right? So number
Yeah.
one, I want to say this because I extended myself and got burned over and over until I learned my damn lesson. It's not
Yeah.
our responsibility to try and help people, even people that we love and people that are we know they're just not aware of it yet, right? And we know that probably when they are aware of it, that they'll change it, right? Because they're good people. They, it,
Yeah.
they will, their spirit team will, it'll happen for them. Okay. It's more important for you to not connect with that energy. Energy is there. That's actually a lesson for us too. It's like a little test, can you do it even when it's someone that you care about? So it's not
Yeah.
necessarily the person that we're talking about. It's the individual behavior, and not even the behavior. It's awareness of the behavior or the whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say really quick about the cross that you have there. You see how that cross is equilateral? The
Yeah.
sides of the cross are all the same. Okay,
Yeah.
if you take a crucifix, right? and you extend it down like the cross of that Jesus is on, right? And you
Yeah.
draw a circle around that cross, you get an egg.
And
That's
that's an egg.
that's the five vortex. Well, no, this look right here is more of a circle. Equilateral arms will give you a round circle, which is the divine shape. If you
Okay.
take the cross that Christ is on, that's what makes an egg. The egg is the five vortex, which is what causes us to be mortal, right? It allows them to
Yeah.
take our divinity, our life force away. Also, if you tilt that cross 45 degrees and you have an X, right? The reason X marks the spot is because the middle of the X is the still point, right? It's a rune called Gebo, Gebo, and that rune Gebo represents divine balance of all your parts. And some people are like, oh yeah, it's two. It's actually four. There's four arms of Gebo that represent your electric, magnetic, dielectric, and diamagnetic. That's what today in the reading for CASIE, I've seen this in a lot of your readings lately, Mary. I see the compass, right, or something like that.
A lot. Or a clock. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's 90 degrees, but it's always tilted like that, right? It's
Yeah, it
always
is. It's always tilted.
That's because that is the electromagnetic component that we can perceive. The other part of it is invisible. That's the dielectric and diamagnetic. So the one we can see is from the zodiac energies. The one that's invisible is from the energies, the same energies that we create with our that are created by our name, that are imprinted on us. So sound
We need
is
to
huge.
change our name.
Yes, but wait, we do.
But
But
you need to tell us how to do that.
right, I'm gonna make videos on how they changed our alphabet, because they didn't just change the letters and the order of the letters. They changed the sounds. So A-E-I-O-U, right? A is a,
Hmm.
supposed to be ah, and it is too, but still.
Hmm.
A is ah, E is a, I is e. See what I mean? They
So
messed.
it's Spanish. It's Spanish.
Essentially, yes. But there's little meanings, but there's differences. But and then O is O and U is U. Okay, and it goes from A at the top of your head to U
Hmm.
down at your feet. Okay,
A
but
E I O U.
yes, but U is supposed to be at the top, right? And that's
Okay. Yeah.
reflected, and that reflects the whole idea of being upside down. That's
You
what.
notice his arm is wrapped around the horse on this side, and on this side the hand is going through the horse. I
Yep.
don't know what that means. It must mean that one of your twins, um, you have to feel the heart of the twin, and then the other twin feels you. I don't know, like
So what it could mean is that maybe the horse on the right is your etheric twin, and the horse on the left is your spiritual twin. Because remember, we have
yeah,
higher self also. That's spirit, right?
yeah,
And a lot of times that'll come up as a unicorn.
yes, yes, yes. I mean, and the letter V could also be the letter U
Yep.
because it used to be the letter U, but then these are E's and U's as swirls
Yep. And
going
yeah,
around.
the letter V and U are really the same letter. They just
Yeah.
so when you have something circular, that circles represent spirit, or wavy lines, any circular lines. Triangles represent the etheric, or the soul level, and squares are physical.
And somebody just said, and the swirls could be sound.
Yep,
I think
because they're
I think I got
longitudinal.
telepathy out of it, almost like telepathic swirls.
Yeah, I'm actually going to that's what else. It just reminded me. I just took a screenshot of this because Mary, how you said that you heard a song recently that made you emotional. So
Yeah.
there was a song over between Christmas and New Year's that it was an old song that I loved. I hadn't heard in years. It's called "I Could Dream About You." I forget
Hmm.
the guy's name, and I loved it. And I
Yeah.
heard it a million times, but when I was listening to it, it's like I got choked up. It's not a sad song.
Yeah.
It's not any kind of song where I have an emotional attachment to it at all. But when I felt it,
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, listen to the words, John. They're telling me listen to the words. Well, I had recently asked my spirit team to guide me in whether or not I should study runes. I've been always drawn to runes, but after I learned what I learned from some of the other teachings that were out there, I was like, I don't want to be studying the wrong stuff again. Well, the lesson in that was there is no studying the wrong stuff. You just have to put it all through a filter, because if you study the quote unquote wrong or changed or corrupted information, right? But you understand that it's corrupted. Now you know the position or the direction they want you to go in, which tells you the direction opposite of that, which is the real direction you go in. So when I heard this song, I was I took note of that. 2 days later, I was watching TikTok, and there was a lady that I watch. She lives in Russia, and she runs a rune school of magic. And she said,
Wow.
she made a quote about the runes, and she said something about the sidewalk moving under your feet, which was something very specific. You know what I mean? and I got
Yes.
and I got chills down my body, because right away in the second verse of that song, he talks about the sidewalk moving under your feet. So that was my answer from my
Wow.
spirit team, that yes, go nuts with the runes. So I did, and when I tell you it set everything in warp speed, it's not even funny. So just another example of pay attention to your emotions. If something comes, especially if you feel a very strong emotion with something that doesn't really, you don't get it. It's your spirit team screaming at you to pay attention.
Yes, because yes, and not just the emotion, but the dreams. And I believe this to be true. I'm going to say it's my temporary opinion here. Here's another temporary opinion. We need to write a book called Our Temporary Opinion
Right?
Is.
The changes every couple of days.
My temporary opinion is um, your double talks through people. So, like your double, you'll talk to your double, and your double is a time traveler. And I'm telling you, I've healed people. My double goes and lays on top of people before they get stung by bees, before they get hit by a car, like the movie Donnie Darko. All of a sudden, my white rabbit, my white horse, my white holy dove goes out and literally saves people from death because it's a time traveler. But
Mhm.
likewise, my double will talk through John. My double will talk through my husband or through a friend or through some random person in the store. If you have a question and you're asking your double, tell me what this means. You'll be standing around in Walmart looking at apples, and this guy will go, oh, blah, 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 answering your question. It was your double.
Which is 100% how I believe, or it's the mechanism of how Mary and I have been on the same page at the same time on the same day
Mm-hmm.
gazillion
Mm-hmm.
times. And the reason,
Because your double and my double know each other, and it's like, oh well, who am I going to talk to? Oh, we're going to let you. Uh, your answers are going to be answered by Mary, and then same thing with my double. My double goes, oh, we'll talk to John.
yep, yep. And you know what, guys, this is another great example of your spirit team will pull who who you have a connection with to you. All right, because here's the deal. When I Mary did my first piece, I was enthralled, and things just went on from there. I started sharing information that I learned, and we just got to be really good friends, and it turned into what it is. Well, I was curious, because I was like, okay, if that's true, let me look and see what her imprint is. So I did a soul contract on her name, which matched exactly what I thought. And then I looked at her natal chart, her where all the planets and stars were in the sky when she was born. I was then able to compare my planets and her planets, and where they were the same and different. And you guys, and Mary, I sent this to you. Remember, her planets are literally in the dual section of the sky where mine are. There is a
Wow.
connection that is, and that's the reason we we met,
Yep.
and we're on the same page with all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
So it's true. And the big this is another one of the things, because when I first started getting into this stuff, I was like, man, I wish I was one of these people that had all these cool spiritual things happening, and that's never happened to me, and all this kind of stuff. Here's how it works. I promise you guys, the little things add up. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like there are thresholds. And when you build knowledge, right? Knowledge comes from photons. Light carries knowledge in it. I don't know if you guys know that. So photons of light literally have information in them. Okay, that means the sun, you know how we're getting supposed to be getting upgrades from the sun? That's how it works. The
Yeah.
photons of light go into your DNA and then exchange into your system through photons of light. So when you learn something new, right, it literally changes the physical structure of your physical DNA, which alters the structure of your body. It literally changes it. That's why they say knowledge is power. That it's true.
It is true.
It changes
And
your structure, and then your changed structure reflects your capabilities and what you can do.
yes, and this is why I remember the very first time my I don't know what invisible spirit whispering in my ear, and this is a funny story, quick story. Um, we were eating fried chicken, and I felt awful after I ate it. Well, I went out to go take my chickens to their coop, and I locked myself in the coop, and I couldn't get out. And I was like, "Well, my husband's going to come out eventually," and I'm just standing there in the coop in the dark, and I felt like throwing up. I was just like, this food is poison. Something came over me like you wouldn't believe. This food is poison. You've been brainwashed into eating something that actually shortens your life. So I threw up that food, and I just decided to change my whole diet. And over time, I dwindled myself down to a very basic diet. Um, but this is how it is with all things. So you'll begin to realize, okay, people, food, um, sun gazing, crystals, rocks, clothing, cleanliness, godliness. Uh, uh, and then suddenly, before you know it, like a thief in the night, you'll wake up and you're vibrating and so differently. And for me, it gets really weird. I mean, I wake up where I see scars on myself that I never had before, and I'm like, where am I? You know, it just gets crazy, but I don't tell people this because I don't want to be like that crazy one. But it does feel like we shift timelines. It does feel like we shift realities overnight. But it takes baby steps of kind of following life energy and leaving behind all that is false. And this is alchemy, burning away all that is false and finding the bullseye, which is truth.
Mm-hmm. And at night too, there's a very specific reason why things change overnight, and it's because
Yes.
creation happens in the darkness. So why is that? Well,
Yeah, why is that?
if sunlight carries information of the way the system is now, and we want to change it, right? The first thing we need to do is get rid of that sunlight. So
Mm.
creation happens in darkness. We've
Ooh.
been taught darkness is a scary or evil thing because they don't want us to know that. It's not scary, it's not evil. All it means is that there is not any information flowing around in photons. Do you guys ever wonder why they do rituals with candles and fire? There's always a blazing fire. There's always candles, right? It's always in the dark. It's not to be scary. It's because fire and candles are a light source that is not carrying the information encoded in the sun's photons.
Mm.
The way I believe the sun works is, and I won't get into it now, I'll put it in, but it has to do with the sun co-creates with the moon and the dark moon. I mean, we've all heard a million times that the sun and the moon birthed the earth, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it actually did because
Mm-hmm.
it it gives them the dark moon and the moon give the earth its dielectric and diamagnetic energy components, and the sun gives the electromagnetic components that we can perceive. So what that means is that if you need a source of light that exists already, right, that is not distorted with that information in the sun, what's the only other option? Fire.
Yeah.
Fire doesn't
So if
have
you
the
wake
same.
up in the middle of the night, which you have been, John,
Oh,
it maybe
every
you're double
every
going, time to create. It's time to create something.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why I get such heavy downloads in the middle of the night because I anchor it right away, and then it changes my reality based on where my belief systems are. It's
For
crazy.
me, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll just do thankfulness, centering, calling in health, calling in life, calling in balance, calling in um, joy and just kind of commanding it, and with, with a childlike heart, of course, because I don't like serious ritual like prayer time where
No.
everyone's around serious and and there's a graveyard over there and everyone's all serious and you're just like, I don't know about this prayer. For me, I use the energy of joy, and if I wake up in the middle of the night and I feel a very strong pull to do it, that's my time where I'm like, life, health, joy, balance, thank you, and call it in.
Yep. One of the most important things I've learned from Mary by watching her is I finally was able to connect the dots after studying. So I like to study. I like to learn. I don't know if you guys could tell. You want to
We
talk about,
can tell,
you want
John.
to talk about nerd herd? It's like me times 10. Okay, like I could literally read 18 hours a day, and I have to make myself go to sleep because I could keep going. So here's the thing: everything is duality, right? Which means everything's a double-edged sword when you talk about the negative. I was trying to figure out the way things work. I was trying to figure out the truth, right? Well, I didn't know yet at that time that the word truth is deceiving, because what the truth literally means is what the objective reality is. And the
Yeah,
objective reality is an average or a collective of all of our individual subjective inner realities, right? So what that means is that there is no one truth. You can do however you want. You don't have to learn a certain way. All you need to learn are the foundations, and that's what Mary does with her pieces, and what I'm making videos on. Once you know
hmm,
what the foundational things are, you take it and use your own creativity from your own imprints, your name and your birthday, and you use it to create something that reflects who you are in this lifetime. Who you are in this lifetime is a big, big, big deal, because we're going through a planetary ascension that's never ever happened before.
yeah,
So you're important. You're way more important than you know, and you will start to uncover a lot more quickly all of your divine spiritual abilities. I mean, you literally, it'll hit you like it'll just happen. You'll be like, "What the hell was that? How did that?
yep,
What is that?" Right, Mary? And
yep,
it's and it keeps going from there. Once you start thinking, feeling, and doing the way things were intended, and not the
yes.
artificial way.
Absolutely. And John, I'm very thankful for you and I'm very proud of you. And I can't wait for everyone else to watch your videos as well about things that are outside of the quote unquote matrix or outside of the false reality. And for all of us to kind of, because knowledge is power, and this knowledge, it's not that we're saying it's true, it's our temporary belief, like we always say. So I just wanted to kind of close out because I'm going to be eating dinner here in a minute. By John, we were going to talk about April 8th and the eclipse. And I know that we kind of started on it, but what
Jeez.
can you tell everybody listening about whether or not to look at the eclipse or
Yeah.
and how to prepare for the energy of the eclipse? And I know you said things were happening before then, but let's
Yeah.
take it a
So
little.
so
Yeah.
so basically, here's what I think is going to happen now. I'd always been looking for like markers, right? Because I'm like, how can the shift just happen at any given point? Well, what I believe now is that when I say the shift, I mean literally, like you snap your fingers, and those of us that are going to 5D are there, right? The
Yeah.
separation. All right.
Yeah.
I think now that there are multiple points along the year when it could happen, which is why they could say we don't know when it's going to happen. All right. I think that the eclipse is one of those opportunities. And so if Mars through the moon rams into the sun turns red, the sky turns red, the water starts on fire, which is something that could literally happen if you take frequency of radio waves at the right frequency and you put them into water. You can separate water molecules and start the water on fire. They've done it in the pyramids. Okay,
Hmm.
so scary looking biblical stuff like that. And they say monsters are going to come, demons are going to come out of the earth. Okay, here, you don't need to know anything other than don't be afraid that
Hmm.
your eyes will deceive you. Know that this is something that is happening in divine timing and for a divine reason. And it's it could go a million different ways, but what I believe is that that red light. You guys have ever seen the red light, the infrared red lights that heals you? I've got one. It works amazing. on
Mm-hmm.
healing your body. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the energy that's going to come out of the red sun. And what's going to happen is that orgone energy, which is ether that carries life force. There's different kinds. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
ether that carries life force is called orgone. I've literally been able to see blue sparks come out of my fingertips when I do certain things, and I vibrate certain sounds. What I think that is that there will be certain people who have the ability to take that red light, that's that special red light, and alchemize it in their body automatically and out of their hands. Your hands project consciousness energy. The quote unquote water, which will look like blue fire, will come out of your hands, and that will convert the lunar water of the moon to the terrestrial water of the earth the way it's supposed to be, which is the return of the divine feminine.
Yes, I feel that. Because I was just making a video about electricity coming out of and
Oh,
that.
you're, you're cutting out a little bit, Mary.
Hear it. Oh,
There we go.
hold on.
There,
Okay, I just feel that I feel that is truth. I feel it very deeply that that is true because I actually started writing songs about things coming out of electricity coming out of your hands.
yeah,
And I feel that when I'm taking a bath and I listen to 963 hertz, I feel something and it actually makes the whole water electrify and it feels itchy, like I'm itching all over like
yep.
electricity in the water.
Yep,
Yeah.
you're gaining a charge. That's another the blue fire thing. That's another reason the way they made us afraid of that is by the White Walkers. You know, get in Game of Thrones, they get a hold of the one dragon, they bring the dragon back to life. So the bad dragon breathes blue fire. That's a part of
Hmm.
programming that's going to make us afraid of blue fire. But we are the blue fire. It's life force. So anyway, we'll get into that.
I see that. Yeah, I totally see that. And I can't wait to talk more about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this between me and John. And if something resonated with you, definitely look into it. If you're an alchemist, uh, the alchemy of transforming from lead to gold is the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening is knowledge. Knowledge is sacred geometry, numerology. It is bouncing ideas off of each other and hearing the voice of your double, which is invisible, speaking through other people like a mirror. And so I encourage all of you guys to please go follow John. And we're going to go live together. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed this live and you want us to go live again, just let us know. And we will continue to this. Maybe we'll have a program where we go live every week. We would like to take it to other platforms as well, like say YouTube or whatever, just to kind of spread the word. But for now, I'm just very thankful, John, that you were able to clarify a lot of things that I totally couldn't verbalize, but I could see it in pictures. And you take these pictures and you give it your word. And so you are the word, and you're the word that we all need to hear right now.
Well, so are you. It's this is the real deal is that we're all a component of the whole, right? And so
Yeah.
talk to
Hmm.
people that you haven't before. Listen to different ideas that you haven't heard before. They're coming
Hmm.
across your plate for a good reason. And thank you,
Yes.
Mary. I've learned I learn from you daily. I watch you daily. So thank you. Serious.
Well, I love you too. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Big hugs to you, John. And I know I'll be hearing from you because you text me.
Right, poor thing.
And I love your texts. Hey, if I don't text you back right away, it's because you know how I am. If I'm
Oh,
in the
don't
mood
even.
with somebody, you
Don't
know how I
worry.
am.
I don't take offense to anything like that. I'm just usually excited to tell somebody, and you're the first person that gets it. So, it's all good. All right, you guys
All
have
right,
a great
guys.
night. Thanks again, Mary. I'll talk to you
All right.
guys soon.
You're so welcome. You guys have a great evening.